Hello. Wonderful to be here. Of course, it's a Thursday. I think my video is fine, isn't it? Please let me know if there is any jitter or lag. But I'm glad to be here. It's Thursday, 6 p.m. London time, the time at which we engage in conversations with Muslims, precious human beings, but completely misguided and deluded. I just realized I'm actually wearing a green shirt for a show with green screen, but I'm delighted that it actually still works. But marvelous being here. Thank you very much for all those who have already joined. What we normally do for those who are new, what we normally do Thursdays, we engage in conversations with precious human beings, Muslims. Especially, hopefully, Muslims who are in the West, in UK, in the US, and so on, and help them understand that the religion that they follow is not of God. And of course, we are Christians, and we'd like to invite Muslims to come to Jesus. And so that's the background. I point noted VXT, so maybe I should too dark, maybe less light. Yeah, I'll take that into account next time. So with that said, maybe I'll pray and get things started. Thank you very much, Brother Wisdom. Thank you. Let's hello, Sister Estowell. Hello, other brothers and sisters who are here. Thank you very much for all those who have joined. What I'm going to do right now is pray and commend the stream in God's hands, and then take it from there. Father, we come before your throne of grace. Lord, every day is a marvelous day. We're delighted to have you as our God. Lord, thank you for the fact that you have come in search of us and have commended your life for us on the cross. You did not just create us, but also took steps to give us new life inside out by going to the cross. Thank you, Lord. Today, of course, we want to engage with Muslims, so we commend the stream in your hands. We pray that through your spirit, Lord, there might be productive, reasonable conversations. Keep troublemakers away, keep trolls, unless they're going to be useful for other Muslims who watch, away. Help us, Lord, we pray. Commend all things in your hands. Take care of the brothers and sisters who are managing the live chat on an official capacity, but also our family who provide a safe, friendly environment in the live chat for everyone who comes. Help and give wisdom for Brother Joe and myself so we can have meaningful conversations. Commend all things in your hands. We bless you. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Loving. So I'm delighted to be here. Of course, like I said earlier, before we move further, could I please request for all to like the video today, so hopefully it reaches many more as we speak. If you could please like the video and also perhaps quickly update on the live chat that you have indeed liked, that would be useful. Whilst you do that, let me take just a second to do something. Please, if you could like the stream, that would be lovely. Just give me 1 second. Cool. Yeah, if you have liked, that would be lovely. So thank you very much if you have liked. Lovely. Let's get started. For those Muslims who are watching, you might have followed videos in our channel for a while, and you might have come across the fact that I say that Islam is terrible in all sorts of different ways. Terrible. evil. It's a murderous death cult, genocidal, anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, terrorist, totalitarian, Nazi, fascist, women hating, girl children hating, i.e. pedophilic, free speech hating, reason hating, truth hating, evil in all sorts of different ways. And I have even challenged people that, that there is actually nothing good in Islam. So you might have seen my videos, and for those Muslims who have accused me of, hating human beings, let me be clear. My problem is with the ideology, which is, of course, brainwashing also. So the ideology, namely Islam, is terrible. Is terrible. And of course, I agree with someone who was on the chat, which is the ideology, wherever it goes, wherever Islam goes, it essentially causes serious problems, particularly if it is not countered in the appropriate way. It can lead to really long-lasting harmful effects, including in terms of existential issues. So this is Islam, terrible. But today, I'm going to present to you the good news. The great news with Islam is that it is not of God, it is bogus. So whilst Muslims figure out that Islam is evil, you can take consolation in the fact that it is not just evil, it is also bogus. It is not of God. Islam is not of God, which is great news. If a terrible religion is of God, then we are toast. We are gone. We are done. We have no hope. But the great news is that this evil religion is actually bogus also, which means we can genuinely forsake this religion, leave this religion behind, and try and find out what else is out there. And that is where, as a Christian, I come and I suggest that actually Jesus, the Bible, God of the Bible, and the way he wants to relate with human beings, his nature is, and all sorts of other things in relation to him are impeccable. Impeccable. And I challenge anyone who is watching, I challenge on this particular point. I know people who watch me and our channel come from a few different worldviews. And of course, they might have only seen my commentary on Islam so far in detail, and might want to find out what is going on. And I could comment to everyone who watches, whether you are an atheist, agnostic, whether you are a Roman Catholic, someone who follows Eastern Orthodoxy, whether you follow some sort of an Indian religion, Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, and so on, whether you follow Rabbinic Judaism, which is not biblical Judaism. Rabbinic Judaism is Judaism hijacked. Whether you follow any of the other world religions, I would like to comment to you that it is only God of the Bible, as revealed in the Bible, with this covenant revealed in the Bible, is impeccable. Only God of the Bible morally is impeccable. Every other religion, when including, like I said earlier, Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Rabbinic Judaism, they, in some way, shape, or form, they fail. Only God of the Bible, as presented in the Bible, including in the person of Jesus, who went to the cross for the salvation of the world, Only him is impeccable in terms of morality, in terms of free speech, in terms of values that we can espouse, including free speech, truth, reason, all those sorts of stuff. Only God of the Bible. So that's my presentation. Now, with that, let's get into deep end. If there is a Muslim who is watching right now, this is time already for you to jump on stage. If there is a Muslim who's watching, I'm sure Brother Joe currently has put the link up, StreamYard link. I say up, but StreamYard link maybe is pinned to the bottom of the live chat. And so if you're watching, and if you want to find out how Islamic history is bogus, that Islam is really not a religion, historically, religion that can be understood to be from the Creator. If you want to find out, and if you want to engage in a conversation in relation to that, please click the link. If you want to waste time, if you really, you decide. If you think you could have a meaningful conversation, I'd be delighted to have you here on stage. The way you do that is by clicking on the link in the live chat on YouTube, and I think even on Facebook. Brother Joe would have pinned the comment. Just a note, people might have seen that, including Sister Estuel. I know, I'm really sorry, Sister Estuel, I haven't yet gotten back to you, but you might have seen that our emails weren't working for a while. As of last week, last live streaming day, I think our emails were back up. But what we lost is something we lost. So any emails that you attempted sending in the period, I think a couple of weeks before that, maybe 3-4 weeks before that, we wouldn't have received. And so please be aware that if you are waiting for a response to a previous conversation, it is best if you actually resend the email. And so please bear that in mind. We have run into all sorts of logistical issues for various reasons, and we are where we are, where God has placed us. So I am grateful to the Lord that we're able to minister to Him in the capacity we are able to. And so, anyway, so let's get started with the stream today. Who is the first Muslim? Who is the first brave Muslim who is able to be here on the stream to engage in a conversation? Who is the first brave Muslim who is able to come here? In the meantime, I'm going to take this question here. Johnny in Christ asked this question, which is actually pertinent to the topic today. The question is: I've heard Dr. J. Smith, who has operated from Speaker's Corner for a number of years, who is currently permanently based in the US, but who travels around the globe, who studied Islam for 40 years. I'm not sure about the 40 years part, but maybe true. I'm not sure. I have heard J. Smith say that Muhammad existed, no proof. So who started Islamic movement in 600 AD? Please let me know. So just to give a quick heads up, and this could be useful for Muslims who are watching also, just so you understand the background. Long story short, until about, let's say, 40-50 years ago, no one questioned the history of Islam. What Muslims claimed was the history was taken to be the history for a couple of different reasons. Number one, globalization hadn't happened in the way it has happened right now. So the Western world wasn't really paying keen attention on Islam, wasn't so relevant in different ways. That's one reason. And the other reason is that the evidence that could be used for analyzing the claims about Islam or the history of Islam or the supposed history of Islam wasn't available to the Western scholars for a couple of different reasons. Maybe I should just say it wasn't available, to keep it short. And so until about 40, 50 years ago, no one really questioned Islam. That's not to say, and many people, took the history that the Muslims presented seriously, because they can't debunk it. They didn't have any reasoning, a reason-based objection to it, so they just had to keep quiet. In the last, let's say 30, 40 years, tremendous research has happened because of globalization and because evidence has suddenly become available for Western scholars. Essentially, evidence that comes from, let's say, the Islamic heartland is now available for Western scholars to critically evaluate. And so this is where, in the last 30, 40 years, particularly, through just a couple of handful of proper scholars, J. Smith, even though holds a doctorate, the research actually comes from scholars such as John Hansbrough, if I remember his last name correctly, Patricia Kron, and even through recent scholarship of people such as Michael McDonald, Ahmed Al-Jalad, Leila Naimi, and so on. So in the last few decades, research is happening. And where people have gotten to is essentially in saying, look, the history that you presented clearly is bogus. These couple of handful of scholars have recognized all sorts of major holes, such as, the evidence for the city called Mecca seems to be not just not existent, but also opposed, and so on. So you have issues such as these. And so people have seriously have figured out that there are serious problems. But beyond that, what seems to have happened is people are speculating, not entirely speculating. People are suggesting as to what really happened. Well, even though people can see through research of people I've mentioned so far, people can see that there are glaring holes in the official accounts of the history of Islam. What they are unable to do so far is actually present a cogent account of what really happened somewhere around the 7th century. People can clearly see that something happened in the 7th century. A genocidal, all the descriptions I used earlier, some sort of a movement happened in the 7th century originating from the Arabian Peninsula. That people could see. But what they could not see is essentially the precise story of what really happened. And this is where a few scholars have been presenting alternative hypotheses. And in my view, hypotheses that have been presented so far, none of them have pulled together all available evidence. What we can say, certainly from my evaluation, what I can certainly say is that Muhammad of Islam could never have existed. Muhammad of Islam did not exist. That is not to say there is no other Muhammad of some sort, but Muhammad of Islam did not exist. That much we have figured out. Having said that, what we can certainly see is that in the 7th century, there was a murderous, jihadist, anti-Semitic, anti-Islamic, and anything anti anything which is not Islamic, but particularly anti-Semitic and anti-Christian movement that originated in the 7th century. That much we can certainly say, the evil things that I've described so far. But what exactly happened? No one has a theory that brings together all of available information. This is where, one thing that hadn't happened properly is essentially studying the Quran in detail to present a view. And this is my focus area for my second book on Islam. My first book on Islam, people might be familiar. We have difficulty, we have some problems, logistical problems in relation to the book being on, delivering the book from Shopify. We're trying to see if we can get the book on Amazon. And so we are in the process of doing that. But the first book is this, The Coming Islamic Takeover of the West. The second book on Islam is Quran, the original Mein Kampf. I hope that that book would be available, in the next couple of months. But I think I have hit jackpot in terms of actually figuring out what exactly, when I say exactly, what has happened, to the level of detail which actually brings together all available evidence. And you'll be interested in finding out the conclusions of my thesis. You'll be surprised. It's essentially something hiding in plain sight. The Quran actually presents the story in reasonably clear detail, except it's hiding in plain sight. So that is the background. So if you're a Muslim who's watching, thank you very much, Brother Johnny. If you're a Muslim who's watching, you're most welcome to join the stream so we can engage in a conversation. Come help us understand how Islamic history as presented according to Islam is true, is not bogus. You're most welcome to do that. That's my mom saying praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So I'm looking forward to the first brave Muslim to join. Thank you very much, Brother Wisdom. Who is the first brave Muslim to show up in the stream to help us understand that the history of Islam, as claimed by Muslims, is not bogus? Who is the first brave Muslim who's able to do that? The way to do that is, of course, to join the StreamYard. The link should be at the bottom of the live chat on YouTube. It should be somewhere recognizable on Facebook. And so please, if you are a brave Muslim, sensible Muslim, please come to us. Come to us. I'm going to be on mute for a minute because I have to do something. So please bear with me. In the meantime, if you're a Muslim, please don't waste time. You can click on the link and be on your way. I'm going to be on mute in the meantime. Just give me 1 second. Lovely. So, who is the first brave Muslim? This is the tragedy. Because of religions such as Islam, Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and other things, Rabbinic Judaism, the tragedy is people have, somehow misguidedly come to the place where they think that religion and truth are disjoint. They're not of the same, they don't have an overlap. Unfortunately, this is what all religions across the world will lead people to. But the reality, unfortunately, for those, fortunately, the reality is actually the Bible is a marvelous source of history. The Bible is remarkable. The Bible captures historical details, relevant historical details, in a way that when you bring together the details presented in the Bible and view the world through the lens of the Bible, you realize you are essentially getting a view of the world which aligns with the truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus, of course, also said, I am the life and resurrection. Elsewhere we realize God of the Bible is depicted as love. God is love. God is light. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Light, love, life, truth, all align in the person of Jesus and in the God of the Bible. All the perfect, personification of everything that is good and godly is in the person of Jesus and in God of the Bible. And so this is the reality. So truth, when you really get to know Jesus, you'll get to know truth. You will get to know why everything in the world is in the way it is. You will get to know all of these details. But I must admit that this facility is not available in any other religion. And that is why generally people think that perhaps religion is some made up stuff and so on, which, like I said, is true in the case of every other religion, including Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, Rabbinic Judaism, and so on, where you're made to believe just because someone says so. Even basic tenets, but only in God of the Bible, outside of Roman Catholicism, outside of Rabbinic Judaism, outside of Eastern Orthodoxy, outside of all of these, Egyptian, the Coptic and the Assyrian church and so on. Only outside of these things you really get to know true truth, love, life, light properly. And so thank you very much. Someone says bye. Bye. Need to have, through God's grace, need to work out. We have run into some many challenges, should I say, through God's grace, God will make a way. I would, many things that are pending, all sorts of things, but through God's grace. Someone asked, is there any verses changes in Roman Catholic Bible? How is Roman Catholicism not of truth? It's not primarily through changing the Bible, although Roman Catholicism has altered the Bible also, including one of the commandments of the 10 Commandments. But like Rabbinic Judaism, like Islam, like Mormonism, like Jehovah's Witnesses, and other typical cults, what Roman Catholicism has done is not made people read the Bible properly and arrive at conclusions, but rather has made people to go by the quote-unquote official documentation from Roman Catholicism, which is what Jehovah's Witnesses do, which is what Islam does. Don't Guru. We believe in the Bible, but don't read the Bible. To arrive at conclusions, read our Quran, read our Book of Mormons, read our JW, Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower material. Likewise, what Roman Catholicism says is listen to our priest, read our catechism. The Bible is too complex. Why? There's no point in God giving you a brain. You can read every other book in the world and understand, but the Bible, oh no, you can't understand. It's only we, the peculiar clothed people that can help you understand. This is the phenomenal indoctrination that Roman Catholicism has given to people who could otherwise very well become Christians. This is, people many times they realize Islam has an alternative Jesus. The Islamic Isa is not the Jesus of history. But what they fail to realize is that the Jesus of Roman Catholicism, the Mary of Roman Catholicism, the God of Roman Catholicism are not the Jesus of history, Mary of history, and God as revealed in history. They're not the same. Two categories. And so this is the tragedy of people being so close yet so far away from Jesus. So Islam has done serious injustice to the Bible, and so has other things also. So I want to be clear on that. Now, where is the first brave Muslim? Where is the first brave Muslim who was able to? Would you believe, like I've said earlier, Muhammad of Islam doesn't seem to be Muhammad of history. And one of the ways you can actually find this out is that Muhammad of Islam, Muhammad of history, would you believe, as terrible as he was, and as he was trying to do terrible things, he wasn't concerned about conquering the world in the way Muhammad of Islam has been made out to be through later writings. They are different in different ways. Like I said, they have different aspects, some good, some bad. When I say sorry, it's nothing good, but some better than the other version, and some worse than the other version. But Muhammad of history seems to have done some terrible things, particularly with the Middle East in focus. The Jews and the Christians in focus, the Middle East in focus, but seems not to have. And he was hoping that certain things would have happened, which clearly did not materialize. So maybe I'll leave it at that. Who is the brave Muslim? Who is the brave Muslim who is able to join the stream right now and engage in a conversation? Brave Muslim. Who is the brave Muslim? Brave Muslims essentially say that you have history behind you. Let's see. The other day I pointed out to this, which is that Islamic history is bogus, and particularly if we focus on the claims about the origin of Islam through Sirah and Hadiths. You typically have this storyline of Mecca, the city of Mecca, Muhammad receiving a revelation in Mecca, being persecuted in Mecca, engaging in a hijrah, establishing a Muslim ummah in Medina, and eventually taking over, claiming that he took over Mecca peacefully, and subsequent to which the claim is that the entire Hijaz becoming Islamic, followed by the institution of the Rashidun Caliphate, and the identities of Islam, Muslim, and Muhammad being messenger and Quran being from Muhammad. All of these are bogus. Bogus. So that's the challenge for today. I'm going to wait now, take a little bit of break, and wait for the brave Muslim, first brave Muslim to join. We're looking forward to Muslims. Please, let's keep the focus clear. We're looking forward to Muslims joining. Muslims joining and providing a defense for the Islam, the supposed history of Islam. Muslims, where are the Muslims hiding today? For some strange reason, of course, we whereas I think we didn't release videos in the recent past, so perhaps that's the reason why YouTube isn't. Normally, we have at least 100 people or so watching. Last couple of weeks, the viewership has gone down. Maybe because we weren't releasing many videos in the last couple of weeks, last maybe 3 weeks or so. So I'm not sure how many Muslims are watching, but if there is a Muslim who's watching, you're most welcome to join the stream. Where is the first brave Muslim? Why is there people might have seen that we have a change in our logo. I'm not sure if we have updated our logo in StreamYard, maybe not. But we have a change in our logo just to, because we are working on getting a few, getting a couple of, at least one, maybe two actually, alternate channels for producing some new kind of content like documentaries and so on. And so while we work on the next stage, we wanted to have an uplift to our logo. The logo comes from the old logo comes from a time before I got married, and Anya is the chief in-house design manager. Anything artistic, she's chief. And so brothers Joe and our other brother who helps us with all of these. We have, and including me, we have a hectic time when it comes to deciding logos and so on. I don't know if you realize, by the way, many might not know, Annie also played a humongous part in editing the book, the first book we have. Not just Anya, but also another brother. One of the people might be familiar that our first book was tremendously delayed, and one of the reasons was I had to go through the first book at least 2 iterations. The first iteration, when I passed the maybe half the book was done, but when I'd asked a brother to proofread the first substantial chapter, he could not get head or tail of what I was trying to say. And so and my wife also had difficulty in understanding. So that is where I realized this book is not useful. So we took the bold step to completely chuck that and start fresh. And we put multiple more iterations of rationalizing the content and so on. So that's where we I think currently the book is in an easy to read state. Anya did a lot of the editing for that. So Anya, is our in-house editor, designer, and so on. So anyway, long story short, that's the story behind the logo. So we have a new logo. Yeah, the new logo is not visible on the screen. I can see. I am really sorry about that, yeah, sorry about that. But our new, you should begin seeing our new logo being on the different platforms. So it's a struggle to find a brave Muslim join and provide an adequate defense. Anything beyond a shallow commentary of Islam, Muslims tremendously fail. And so that's a serious problem we have been having. Muslims across the world, it's unbelievable. Across the world, Muslims, including mafia ringleaders at Speaker's Corner, including leading, who are presented as leading scholars, are utterly clueless. They're not scholars by our definition of what makes someone a scholar. So Islam has produced Muslims across the world in large numbers. What it has failed to produce are people who can think. It has failed to produce. This is the tragedy with not just Islam. You will see that, of course, also with Roman Catholicism, as a matter of fact. The tragedy is most Roman Catholics would say, oh, we are laymen, someone else would. They would even say we're not allowed to even read and understand what the Bible says firsthand. This is the tragedy. This is the tragedy. So, where is the brave Muslim? Where is the first brave Muslim who is able to jump on the stream to engage in a conversation? I did actually hear about the shooting at the Islamic Center, although I didn't read many details concerning that incident, but I did hear, and it's I don't know the full story, but clearly loss of life. Islam is terrible. On that, I am in agreement with everyone who has serious problems with Islam. Islam is terrible, no doubt about that. Now, where maybe I disagree with many people, including people at Speaker's Corner, is perhaps on how to respond to that problem. In history, different parts of the world have responded in different ways. I think one of the ways in which Roman Catholicism has become what it is today, partly is also down to Islam, from what I can see. Trying to mimic what Islam did to counter Islam. Well, that's I come from India. People, of course, would be familiar that I wasn't born in the UK, and from my mother tongue is Tamil, and where I come from, we have a saying, which is that just because a dog barks, you can't bark back. So Just because Islam does terrible things, Islam does things in a particular way, as quote unquote Christians, anyone who wants to be Christians can't respond in a similar way. If you try to respond in a similar way, you will lose the essence of who you are. And so Roman Catholicism, I think, was heavily influenced, partly at least, by Islam, having to deal with Islam, and therefore it has lost, in many different ways it has lost, but including in this way, it has lost the essence of being Christian. And um, and this is not just Roman Catholicism, even in terms of Hindu nationalism in India. When it comes to Hindu nationalism in India, there are organizations organizations and movements in the last century or so, which essentially began doing a tit for tat, and therefore they began to emerge in a way which is very similar to Islam. You beat us, we will beat you back. Unfortunately, as Christians, we cannot do this. Okay, we have a Muslim, who is here with us, so that's lovely to see, Mr. This is a untouchable. The article in English is an. This is an untouchable. So from India, no, it's the country. The name of the country is India, India, with an initial capital. I should be capitalized. So I am from India. You are right. Whether I am an untouchable or not, I don't want to let you know. I don't know why you would, want to. Anyway, we are dealing with Islam right now, and I'm really glad that you're here with us today. And so please come on stage and let's have a conversation that could be meaningful. So if you're safe, I don't know how old you are. If you have any self-respect, I don't know if you haven't heard that term or not, self-respect. If you have any self-respect, I invite you to come to the stream and have a conversation. We're dealing with serious issues in life, in relation to life and death. And you show up here as a joker who can't spell things properly, who can't use proper articles, punctuation marks, capitalizations. I don't know how much they paid you to come online and to comment, but I invite you to show up on the stream to engage in a conversation. Is there any other Muslim who's watching us from what we can see? Anyone? Anyone? Any Muslim? Any Muslim? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. If so, people are saying that Catholics and people of Orthodoxy also will be in heaven. If this were the case, I would not be arguing and calling out on this issue of Roman Catholicism being a fake religion. I would not be calling this out. If this were the case, there will not be, maybe I won't know that. I will not be calling it out. This is a delusion that people have, delusion that people are advancing, that Roman Catholicism saves. Those who are in the know in relation to the Bible will be aware that that is not the case. Salvation is not based on who has a copy of the Bible at home. It isn't. Just like how it wasn't based on who was an ethnic Jew, who went to the synagogue, who was a Pharisee, and so on in the first century and previously. Clearly, you can be a Pharisee, you can read the Bible, yet not be on the right side with God. And so, wake up before it is too late. If you are a Roman Catholic, if you are someone of Eastern Orthodoxy, if you are a Muslim, if you are a Mormon, if you are a Jehovah's Witness, if you are any of these, you have got a wrong Jesus. Wake up before it is too late. And that point is not just for Muslims, Mormons, people of Rabbinic Judaism, Jehovah's Witnesses, but it is also for Roman Catholics, people of Eastern Orthodoxy. All of you have a wrong Jesus. A wrong Jesus. A wrong Jesus. Jesus is not some goo-goo baby that is in the arm of some lady called Queen of Heaven, Mary, with a hypodulia. No. You've got the wrong Jesus. And so, please wake up before it is too late. Please wake up before it is too late. Where is the first brave Muslim who is able to come here? First brave Muslim. First brave Muslim who was able to come here. You would have the right version of Mary if you know Mary is comparable only to human beings. If you think Mary is anything more than that, you've got the wrong version of Mary. So, Roman Catholics have fake history. Please be aware. Now, where is the first brave Muslim? First brave Muslim. Whilst we await the first brave Muslim, maybe I'll take a bite of some food. Apologies. I'm a little bit. I do apologize. My wife says I need to apologize for eating while doing the stream. I do apologize. I seem to be very hungry, so I'm going to take a couple of bites of something in my hand. But if you are a Muslim, we're still waiting for you to join the stream. So please, if you're a Muslim, where are you? Muslims, where are you? Waiting for you to join the stream. Where are you? brave and Muslim in the same sentence. I mentioned the other day, we had a nice conversation, just one conversation the other day, where I exposed the point that if you go by all early writings, references to Muhammad or Islam in any shape or form, you figure out that what you get as history from those sources is very different to how Muslims see history today. Maybe I'll quickly remind. So, for instance, Doctrina Jacobi, Doctrina Iobi, or Jacobi is a popular source that people use. Say, look, hey, within a couple of years of Muhammad passing away, we have a reference to Muhammad from a source, from a non-Muslim source. Well, if that is true, then it'll be interesting to see what it says, if that is true. Unfortunately, you read through the source, you figure out that this debunks Islam as believed today. For instance, the conclusions derived from Dr. Jacobi is that Muhammad was alive. Whoever was so first of all, the movement, the people who are being recorded as the ones who come from the sort of the Islamic heartland are thieves. By no means showing an indication that the entire Hijazi has been conquered and a caliphate being established and so on. It's not seen as a reputable nation with a military. It's rather seen as the Muslims who were moving around were seen as merely thieves. Number one. Number two, the leader of these, they aren't called Muslims, they are merely called thieves. And the leader of these thieves is actually with them at the point they were attacking assets outside of Hijazi. The leader was there with them. And the leader had claimed to have some connection with the second coming of Jesus. All details which are clearly inconsistent with the claim of Islam. If Dr. Jacobi is true, then Islam as believed today is false. And so these are conclusions that come from here. And like I said earlier, I challenged Labubu. By the way, I saw a post from Labubu, I think, saying that he has flare-ups because of asthma or something. It's a bit sad, even though we, of course, disagree with Labubu on religion and mindset and morality and so on. Labubu, Mr. Lipsiano from the US, good wishes to him for him to recover from the attack of asthma. But we don't want anyone to suffer. But Mr. Labubu, I challenged him when he was here. When he was here at Speaker's Corner, look, your fellow seems to have been in Galilee. And all records, like I said, indicates this claim. Like I said, this presents a case for that. It says, when the candidatus was killed by the Saracens, I was at Caesarea and I set off by boat to Sycamina, people were saying candidatus has been killed, and we Jews were overjoyed, and they were saying that the prophet had appeared coming with the Saracens. So this is, by the way, Sycamina. We are really talking already about outside of Hijazi, going into Africa, Sycamina. And so the question is, what is Muhammad doing outside of Hijazi after claiming prophethood? He is not supposed to have gone there. He is busy, dealing with issues in Hijazi. But here it clearly says he was outside. And number two, it talks about how the claim was around the second coming of Jesus, the advent of Jesus. So you have a few different problems here. But unfortunately, of course, Muslims are hopeless. And so we don't expect any Muslim to join today, do we? Where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims? Islam will allow people to marry and cousin marriage. Islam doesn't have marriage. Everyone needs to please revise your vocabulary to accommodate that point. Islam does not have marriage. What is there in Islam is merely sex contract. And so Islam does not treat women with respect. Older women or girl children with respect. Islam at best treats the feminine gender as sex slaves. That's what it does. Any brave Muslim? Where are the brave Muslims? Has been an hour and 10 minutes. Look at the books behind me. And you might have seen people such as, what's his name? Ibn Ketchup. Utran Ibn Ketchup. Madman Masjid. And, other similar people sitting and having these books behind them and so on, sitting behind these books. And you might think, oh, okay, so these guys have learned a lot of books. And I can tell you, if they had essentially really learned anything useful, they would have cleared up this. This is all worthy of only the closest bin. All of these hadiths and whatever nonsense. Just junk. The contents there are not worthy of the paper they are written on. There's nothing useful. They concoct history. And when people question, oh, how do you know these characters even exist? They concoct those characters also. And, no one really were able to verify these contents. These are just, junk. You can get copies of these if you want to fill your bookshelves with junk. But beyond that, it's just useless. Good for firewood. Sister says, good for firewood. Maybe what can I say? Yeah, these are absolutely, from the pits of hell. Okay, so we have someone in the backstage. That's good. We can get the person on stage. So, hello, Abid. Hello. Someone joined and I've jumped off right now. Abid, not sure where you are, but um, what can we say? Muslims struggle to have decent conversations. Do I have degrees to display those books behind you? You know, I have a brain, and based and the brain works, and based on that, you wouldn't believe the first time I began active research, proper, systematic, meticulous learning of Islam. Maybe a few years ago. Prior to that, I picked up a few things here and there, and I was inquiring and so on. One of the very first resources I came across when it came to Islam and science, this was maybe 10 years ago or something. Prior to that, generally when I engage with Muslims, I present the Bible alone, and I realized they weren't connecting properly. And this is why, many times, Christians are baffled when I mostly talk about the Quran and Islam. And anyway, long story short, back in those days, the first video, well, one of the first resources I came across in relation to Islam was this video of some Australian scientist, Muslim gentleman, an Australian scientist, doing a presentation. I can't remember in what setting. I wouldn't be surprised that that was an academic setting. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but I can't remember, so don't hold me to that. But um, it was an Australian scientist gentleman. Essentially, the claim from the thumbnail and from the title, the claim was that the Quran reveals details about black holes. Black holes. So I thought, you know what? I'd really like to find out what the Quran says. Back then I hadn't read the Quran, um, myself, and so I was, merely dependent on people who read the Quran to give me some insight. So I said, okay, fine. I listened to what you have got to say. It was unbelievable. So this was a scientist. I think if I remember, he could have been a physicist. Anyway, it was about an hour-long video, hour-long lecture, black holes and Quran. And I was watching and watching and watching, plenty of actual science, and I commend the gentleman for that. Plenty of actual science for about maybe 45 minutes or 50 minutes or so, but only proper science. And I thought, well, but the lecture is about science and the Quran. So what's happening here? Anyway, in the last 2-3 minutes, I didn't even realize it was going to be the last 2-3 minutes. He said, hey, look, these details the Quran predicts. And I was waiting. Okay, well, let's get to this. So far we've seen science. Now let's see Quran. And I can't remember what particular reference he used. This was a long time ago. Now I know the Quran. So if anyone points to a particular reference, I know at least roughly what they're talking about. But he said, okay, this, and he was reading an ayat somewhere in the Quran, and I was astonished. The gist of what he was reading was something like, whatever, and there was dark, That's it. And that was and there was dark or something. No, something to this extent. I thought, okay, and so what? And then I realized, that's the claim of and there was dark. That's what it was claimed to have been black hole detail in the Quran. And that blew my mind. I couldn't believe that this fellow was a scientist. He clearly was doing good science when it comes to actual physics. But when it came to being able to reason whether some resource is credible or not, this guy hasn't got a clue. Hasn't got a clue. So that's where I realized, okay, so this is the level of brainwashing we're dealing with. So if you're a Muslim who's watching, and if you think you have a better case to present, you are most welcome to come here. Muslims, you're most welcome to come here. We're still waiting for the first brave Muslim to join. To engage in a conversation. Where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims? While we wait for Muslims to join, I'd like to take this. I'd like to take this question. Yeah, maybe I'll come to your question in a minute. Just quick comment. I would like to see debate again. Although I had, clearly, of course, I have very little respect for most of these Dao Mafia gang ringleaders, as you might have seen. I have very, very little respect. These, I completely see Muslims to be victims of a brainwashing cult, and so I have pity for them, for most of them. The ringleaders, I have, I'm sort of against in a way also, because these ringleaders at least should know that they have nothing good in Islam. At least the other fellows, they don't know what is there properly. The ringleaders like Muhammad Jihad and so on should know that in Islam there's nothing which is good. And so I have very little respect normally, but particularly for Muhammad Jihad, he's an obnoxious character. But and so we'll need to wait and see. Depending on how he presents himself, I might. But hearing about what he did to this lady, a Muslim lady, which is not surprising because that's Islam. But even then, it's I have very, very little respect for that fellow. Now, someone asked this question: do you believe eternal hell for non-Christians? If yes, doesn't it make God unkind? Do I believe eternal hell for those who are, for some people, let's say? Yes, judgment is coming, and all human beings are supposed to get to terms with the Creator, the true Creator, the true God. All of us are required to. And does that mean God is unkind? No. God is kind, gentle, and loving. We know these things based on the fact that left to our own devices, we will not be saved. Out of my own, ability, skill, I'll be condemned forever. That being the case, God, to solve an issue that I introduced into my life, he gave up his own life. He did all that he could do. He has done all that he could do to save. And so God is this is how I know God to be kind, gentle, loving, all those good things. But when it comes to judgment and condemnation to hell, unless we are saved, that has to happen for justice to be served. Human beings have done terrible things. Everyone, every single one of us, including me. Anger, hatred, malice, pride, lust, all sorts of issues. Human beings have demonstrated all sorts of issues on planet Earth. And so to serve justice to, I have done things to others which require, which requires keeping of accounts and sorting accounts. And if God doesn't do that, he will be seriously unjust. So that's how you should see the eternal judgment. God, so there is an eternal judgment to come, and only because of that eternal judgment, every single human being, including those who will end up in hell, can be satisfied that justice has been served, only because of the judgment which is to come, without which none of us would be happy. None of us. All of us would have grievances, which if we take into eternity, eternity would be a mess. So judgment has to happen. God, when he serves the judgment, eternal judgment, he is actually being kind, loving, gentle to all of creation as a whole. And whilst being that, the repercussions are seen by individuals in their individual capacity. Judgment doesn't negate the fact of God being kind and loving and so on. So that's important to understand. So with that as a reference point, to understand that God indeed is kind and loving and whatever else, apart from being just, we understand that through what he has done pre-judgment for us. God has done everything possible without compromising on justice, everything possible to help every single human being. He has done everything possible. And that is how, including giving up himself, sacrificing his own needs. This is why Jesus went to the cross. That is how we understand the God of the Bible is loving and kind and good and whatever else, all these good things. That's how we understand. Not through the fact of the ultimate judgment. Hopefully that clarifies. Trust me, my dear friends, if there was no judgment at the end, justice could not be served to everyone. So please be aware of that. Now, we're still waiting for Muslims to join. Where are the Muslims? Where or the Muslims. Coventry Punks asks, you normally stick to facts. Is your answer on hellfire just your opinion on fact? It's a fact. The Bible reveals some particular details. When I say a fact, what I mean is it comes from a reliable source. It comes from a source which is reliable. Jesus has demonstrated himself to be God. God of the Bible has demonstrated himself to be God. And essentially, God of the Bible reveals the fact that there is an eternal judgment to come. So it's not, when I say a fact, what I mean is it's from the authoritative source of what is to come in the future. I'm not making this up. It's not my personal view on anything. It's essentially from the original sources. So that's the point. So there is someone in the I know people have been complaining about adverts. I'm really sorry. We might be terribly wrong, but I think we keep the adverts on just for the YouTube algorithm. We are of the opinion that it's the when a video is monetized, that's when YouTube is promoting the video better. We could be thoroughly wrong, but that's the entire reason. We make, by the way, we make very little money from YouTube. Particularly from the live streams, we get absolutely nothing, which is fine. Clearly, of course, we're not doing things for money. God ultimately is the source of our information. So, yeah. But that's the reason why. That's why. I'm really sorry. We might, if someone is able to help us, with the reach and say, hey, look, advertisements. Not sure. Anyway, cool. Let me let's get. There is a lady in the back here who is a Christian, from what I understand. I'm waiting for Muslims to join the stream, but in the meantime, I think this is lady who was having a discussion about Roman Catholicism and so on. So maybe we'll take her, Brother Joe. Hello, Sandra.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, by God's grace, I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm not going to keep you or anything. I wanted to explain myself. I didn't mean to offend you or anything. I just got in real big trouble 2 days ago talking about my Protestant beliefs and how I don't think all the traditions that the Catholics and the Orthodox have were biblical. And I voiced it, and nobody's talking to me anymore. So I was trying to not be mean to them. I would like to see them in heaven. I mean, I think that, people from all walks of life are going to be there. I don't know. I just couldn't follow the Catholic Church or the Orthodox. To me, from what little I know, they're pretty much the same. Maybe with a few differences. Is that right?
Yeah, essentially. But first of all, welcome. Thank you very much for coming on stage. You didn't offend me. I was
Okay.
purely responding on a factual basis. You really didn't offend me. Thank you for making the comments you made, which is
Okay.
good. It's good always to bring these things up into the open. Unfortunately, there is much sort of hiding happening, sweeping under the carpet in relation to Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and so on. So I'm really glad when people speak their mind. So you didn't offend. I'm really grateful to you, and it's a delight to have you here. To quickly respond to what you were saying, it is true that from a biblical view, from a historical view, from a true historical view, the differences between Roman Catholics, people of Eastern Orthodoxy, Ethiopian Orthodoxy, Eritrean Orthodoxy, Coptic, Assyrian religion, Eastern Orthodox, a few of these, they are pretty much the same in relation to how we see things. And what I
Yes.
mean by that is this: all of them have some sort of a queen of heaven, I would call worship, but maybe we can debate this. And I'm not necessarily saying every one of them use the term queen of heaven. The problem is, to them, there is a mother in heaven. There's strong temptation, and this happened pre-first century. Mother in heaven. They can't visualize a God who is, who has an offspring, not in the way we human beings have offsprings. They can't
Yeah.
visualize. And so this is a serious abomination, and this was condemned by the prophets of the Old Testament.
I
But
remember reading that.
yeah, queen of, so, but that has come into what are meant to be churches. So essentially, all of them have queen of heaven. All of them have priests in the New Testament, priestly order. There's no such thing. Priestly order is not in the New Testament. It's anyone who thinks that priestly order is in the New Testament has not understood the heart of God, has not understood the covenant of God, has not understood the fact of how in the Old Testament we could not enter in, individuals could not enter into the Holy of Holies, but in the New Testament you can. It's a primary, in other words, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what God has done through the cross. It's an abominable ridicule and rejection of the cross. And so the claim of priestly order and idols and icons
Yeah, that bothers me.
all of these, believe it or not, would have carried capital punishment if we had been under the Torah, the Old Testament. They are so abominable that all of them individually would carry capital punishment. And so these are serious offenses. And so all of these quote unquote churches are proper big time scams. Why did they come about? What was the motivation? What happened in history? I can expose that in detail on a future occasion. But these are all major scams. These are not original churches. These are not from the first century sources, or the first couple of centuries even. When they say that, early history, church history, no, I will challenge in the future. Like how we challenge Muslims, I will challenge Roman
Yeah, I
Catholics.
would like to see a live on that and get some historical background. That would be nice.
Absolutely. Today, the impression given by Roman Catholics and people of Eastern Orthodoxy is that quote unquote biblical Christians. I don't want to use the term Protestants. I use the term biblical Christians. The biblical Christians are unaware of early church history. That's how they give an impression. I think it is just gaslighting. I can give you a few examples. There are examples of characters such as Clement of Rome, who is an very early source by Clement of Rome, a writing called Didache. These are normally present, which are clearly, of course, outside of the New Testament. These are normally presented by Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox and whoever else as supportive of their stance and rejecting biblical Christianity. That's how they will present. But the reality is exactly the opposite. I will demonstrate in due course of time that Clement of Rome was not a Roman Catholic. He was an anti-Roman. He was a biblical Christian.
Oh,
You would be surprised at the level of brainwashing that has gone on. As much as the Muslims are brainwashed and the Muslims are deluded in terms of history and so on, I think Roman Catholics, people of Eastern Orthodoxy, and other similar groups are also brainwashed and deluded. The early church is not any of these, if that makes sense.
Yes, I appreciate it. I won't keep you any longer and everything, but thanks for the information. And I'll be looking forward to your future videos, see what's going on.
Lovely. Thank you very much for coming here. God's blessings to you.
All right, bless you.
Speak to you later. God's blessings. Bye bye.
Bye.
So, you know, I know there's plenty of misunderstanding. People see the point that I'm making and the point a few others are making as sort of causing division and so on. Accusing accusing that we are hateful of Roman Catholics, or we are causing division and so on, would be akin to the accusations at Muslims level, when they say, oh, we are Islamophobic or whatever. Similar. The points that I'm making are very important, and I'm telling you, I'm not suggesting by any stretch of imagination that those who claim to be biblical Christians, all of them are going to be in heaven. That's not the point. At least they've got the theory right. Their practice could be wrong, but at least they've got the theory right. I'm clearly only talking about theory right now. I haven't gotten to the point of discussing practices or practical application of the theory. All sorts of self-centered biblical Christians and all sorts of biblical Christians who are in the wrong place. Completely understood. But in terms of Roman Catholicism, as much as Islam is theoretically wrong, Roman Catholicism also is theoretically even wrong. It presents a fake Jesus, fake Mary, fake church history, delusional, brainwashing, and more importantly, destructive. And that is important to understand. And this is why I say what I say. I completely understand, there's plenty of opposition to what I say, but I will continue saying, because then I need to say, popular opinion doesn't determine what I say. What determines what I say is my master, my employer, God. I know I am an employee of I am a servant. I am a slave, a servant. I am a child also, a son also, but more importantly, I am a servant of my precious God, who has appointed me and commissioned me, and has allowed me to serve him in a particular way. And so I need to please him. I need to make sure I'm communicating truth as appropriate as he gives, and so on. So bear with me. What I'm saying is important, whether you like it or not, whether, regardless of how many complaints come, and where from complaints come, for me to stay faithful to my master, I will continue saying what I'm saying. And so sooner rather than later, get to terms with this and begin engaging in the arguments. And so that's what I'd say. Roman Catholicism is not historical Christianity. Eastern Orthodoxy is not historical Christianity. None of these entities actually gave the Bible. It's falsely claimed that these are the entities which gave the Bible. Just junk. In the first couple of centuries, there was not a priest from a priestly order, historically. Not. The entire system of these funny clothed people is daylight robbery. Daylight robbery. And it has been terribly evil and destructive, even with existential threat. And so in some of these things, Roman Catholicism is not far behind Islam. And so it's very important. And so I really would like people to begin engaging in these conversations. Now, let's where are the Muslims? I know my young friend Pebin is in the backstage, but I'm going to keep him here. I'm waiting for the first brave Muslim, first brave Muslim. Where is the first brave Muslim? Islam, if you're a Muslim and if you're watching, let me tell you this very important, my dear friends. If you've seen me, you would be aware that I face plenty of problems because of what I do at the hands of Muslims at Speaker's Corner, like many other people do. Despite this, I, in peace, continue to speak about Islam. And so you need to ask the question as to why this is the case. And I can be open and honest, and I'll say, look, my God trains me to love human beings. My God requires me to love human beings. My God leads me to love human beings. So, in the love that I have for Muslims, in the love that I have for our nation, and the responsibility I have towards our nation, I want to expose Islam. It will help individual Muslims. It will help individual non-Muslims. It will help us as a nation, and it will help us all as citizens of the world. All of us need to open our eyes. I am not against Muslims personally. I'm not. What do I gain by being personally against Muslims? What do I gain? I gain nothing. Well, I only lose, by facing all sorts of risks that otherwise I would not be facing. So I'm not, there's no benefit I receive apart from exactly the benefit I'm pointing out to, which is I will please my God by serving Him, loving Him, and by serving my neighbors, my nation, and loving my neighbors and my nation. This is why I expose Islam. So if you're a Muslim who's watching, please disregard the fact that, I, based on facts, say, hey, look, this leads to brain damage, this leads to, whatever. Those are factually accurate statements. Islam is a terrible religion, destructive, eternally and also today. Terribly destructive religion. It does terrible things to human beings. It does terrible things to nations. Would you believe it does terrible things to even Muslims? That's my important point. Even Muslims today, in this world, and in eternity to come, and Islamic nations. Islam does terrible things. And you can see that already. Muslims walk around, grown-ups walk around having absolutely no clue, like children. If Islam wasn't a religion, if people, if for instance the UK was a sensible nation, which wasn't concerned about respecting religions equally, what else nonsense. People who hold these opinions, views would be sectioned. This is, believing in Islam or Islamic history or whatever Islamic quote unquote science is delinquent. Thinking that Muhammad is some sort of a wonderful man. I don't know what. I'm not sure if there is any drug that can heal this problem. I mean, no drug heals the problem. No, there's no. I don't think there's any drug that can hide this problem. If anyone walks around thinking Muhammad is some noble fellow, has clearly, the level of brain damage is serious. These are facts. And when I say this, I'm not against any individual Muslim of today. I'm not. I am for you, not against you. And so if you're a Muslim who's watching, please Take what I'm saying seriously. And if you have watched our live streams, as long as you engage in a reasonable manner, we provide a good platform, a friendly platform for people to have honest conversations. So I invite Muslims. I invite Muslims to come here. I invite Muslims to join me in StreamYard and engage in a conversation. Just see what is happening because of Islam. Ultimately, my primary concern is about eternity. Please bear that in mind. My primary concern is about eternity. Having said that, you can see the problem of Islam in this world already. For instance, in the Middle East, see what is happening to Israel. If not for Islam or in the Islamic mindset, the Jews who moved to the Middle East and the Arabs and others who are today called Arabs, we can work out a solution. Let's live at peace. I'm not suggesting the problem is only Islam, but Islam has sort of captured, has sort of encapsulated the Middle Eastern death cult mindset properly, that today it wields tremendous influence. And look at the children who are dying, look at the women who are dying, look at the elderly who are dying. And you need to ask the question, who is the reason for these things? And I can tell you the reason for these things, today, Islam. Post-Islam, the reason for these things is Islam. Pre-Islam, pre-Islamic mindset. That's a different history we can dwell on later. But post-Islam, the problem is Islam. A death cult mindset, hatred towards the Jews, and by the Jews I mean people of the nation of Israel, not today's nation of Israel, ethnic Israel. The level of hatred, and you can see, you might have seen, the hatred of Jews not just is there in the Middle East, it's there everywhere. Everywhere. A Muslim, in all honesty, will struggle to love a Jewish neighbor wherever. Will struggle. Especially the more you know Islam, the more you will struggle. And the default state, the starting state, is to keep you at a distance mentally, emotionally. So this is what's happening in relation to the Jews. See what's happening in relation to the Christians, quote unquote. Now, for this point, I don't even want to argue on who true Christians are. Roman Catholics, people of Eastern Orthodoxy, and so on. But anyone who remotely aligns with the Bible and reads, claims to read the Bible and derive inspiration from the Bible. See what has happened. See what has happened to Lebanon. See what has happened to Egypt. See what's happening in Nigeria. See what's happening in Sudan, in Ethiopia, and so on. See what's happening in various of these nations historically, and not just today. I don't want people to go by a blip in world history, but I want people to go by a long established, well-established history. Look at centuries worth of history, dear friends. The terrible thing that Islam is terrorism in Islam is not a blip. Terrorism in Islam is a core component of Islam, as demonstrable as demonstrated, not demonstrated, demonstrated in history. And of course, it's not just the Christians. Look at, for example, my nation of my mother nation, where I come from originally, India, Kashmir. Issues all over the world. There are only a few quote unquote Islamic nations. And okay, it's not just that. Let's now move to the Islamic nations. See the terrible state the Islamic nations are in. In some nations, Islam is followed more than in others, as would be agreed by the mafia ringleaders. And so you can see Afghanistan, Pakistan, and so on, Iran. And see what's happening. People are crying out for help. Crying out for help. And so I'd like to say that clearly Islam is a terrible religion. And that is one good way in which you can one good way, analyzing these things is one good way in which you can wake up. You can say, look, what's happening here? Why is there a problem because of Islam all over the place? Why? And just to be clear, the troublemakers in Islam, for the first troublemaker of Islam is the messenger of Islam himself. The first troublemaker, the original one. The original troublemaker in Islam is the messenger of Islam himself. Surah 33 asks all Muslims to follow his good example of being a terrible guy. Surah Al-Azab 33. So Muslims, it's time for you to wake up before it is too late. Believe it or not, my dear friends, people don't get to live long. Doesn't matter how old you are, but regardless of how old you are, everyone's life is coming to an end sooner rather than later. And so it's best that you wake up soon. It's best to wake up soon. And Muslims, please, the beautiful thing is that all is not lost when you leave Islam or when you figure out that Islam is terrible. The beautiful thing is today, this is the theme for today. We can demonstrate that what you've been believing in is anyway a bogus religion. It's not just that it is terrible, it's also that it is bogus. So you don't have to be worried when you leave Islam that, hey, look, leaving behind some God. No, when you leave Islam, you're just leaving behind some junk. That's the great news. In contrast, you can come to my precious God, God of the Bible. He is a marvelous God. And I can vouch for him any day, every day. Any day, every day. God of the Bible is a remarkable God. Jesus is a remarkable one. So we're waiting for the first brave Muslim. Where is the first brave Muslim? Where? Muhammad Jihad apparently is going to engage in a legal battle against God logic, because Muhammad Jihad, despite all his barking and skullduggery and all his um, all his ploys, clearly feels the heat as a result of a conversation he had maybe 3-4 weeks ago with God Logic in his own channel, by the way, in Muhammad Jihad's own channel. And so he clearly is ashamed, and he wants to, try and see how he can manage conversations around that particular topic, around his discussion with God Logic. So clearly, Muhammad Jihad isn't helping. At Speaker's Corner, you have Paul Williams, you have Hashain, Maseh, Alibaba, Bamza, who are the other ones? All running. So none of those fellows is able to help you. None of them. None of them could help you. It was funny how Muhammad Jihad was. I don't know if some of you saw and some of you remember. Just maybe a few months ago, Mr. Jihad was scorning, I think in PS Uncensored, scorning a Jewish gentleman, I think, who was a lawyer for, I think, somehow related to Epstein. Just lawyer for for a regular, just judicial process. Anyway, he was scorning that this fellow was on the panel or whatever. Muhammad Jihad is worse than Epstein. Clear, unbelievable. These fellows, to walk around thinking they advance some noble morality. These fellows, I mean, consider who the original Muhammad. Terrible fellow. You follow some terrible fellow, and you want to talk about morality in relation to treatment of women? You must be mad. This is Muhammad. These fellows are utterly clueless. They're brain damaged. They can't help anyone. And so on. So please, dear friends, if you're a Muslim who's watching, you're most welcome to come and engage in a conversation. Where are the Muslims? Thank you very much, brother. Yeah, too. Islam, yeah, unbelievable. Cool. Who are the Muslims who are able to join? Where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims? Now that is a sensible thing. Jesus. There's only Jesus. Where are the Muslims? Mr. Zakir Naik, unfortunately, is Mr. Adult Child Bacons is here. Thank you. I'm really happy right now. So, Dawa Wise Bro, where Dawa Wise fellows, Dawa Wise fellows have been running, have been running at Speaker's Corner, running away. This is true. This is true. In the UK, not just in the UK, I think in the Western world, they're trying to sell this idea that somehow Islam advances noble behavior, family values, respecting women, and so on. And we realize that this is the gaslighting that Islam does, terrible lying. And Islam does not build families. Islam builds brothels. Brothels. This is why, across the UK, I'm sure it's across the world, but across the UK, I don't know what system is there in the US, but in the UK, I can tell you, if you somehow see a Muslim lady living with some children, and if you see some man visiting her maybe once every week or something, and the Muslim lady claims that he is her brother or cousin or whatever, be mindful that there is a good chance that that person is the sex master, and this lady is one of how many other sex slaves that sex master has. It's happening in the UK, and of course, in the UK, young girl children are destroyed by Muslims. So you have terrible issues because of Islam. I am not an adult, by the way. That's exactly my point. I don't know. I don't know how old you are, but you're a child. From what we can see, based on your mental capacity, if you are any older than 4 or 5, you should really rethink decisions in your life, because in terms of intellectual maturity, you come across as if you're some 4 or 5-year-old. Now, Mr. Muhammad Ansari, Alibaba, Mr. Alibaba, Labubu, they're all, Alibaba is running away. Labubu also, as a matter of fact, the other day ran away. But what at some stage in the future, I might gate crash Labubu's party, because of course he's in the US, so maybe I can't just claim that he is someone who runs away just by the one instance when he did run away. Although he's a terrible, violent man, I don't know how come he's outside of prison right now. He should be behind prison bars. So anyway, so Labubu, they're all hiding. And so I recommend that you come on stage so we can engage in a conversation. Muhammad Ansari, it's best if you join here and engage in a conversation. We'd really like to find out what you've got to say. Anything to, you know, so you might, who knows, Mr. Are you the cameraman of Maser? You might be the cameraman of Maser. I completely understand, same level of IQ, both at the park and here. Anyway. Most of these fellows don't understand the simple logic. When if it comes to any other thing, you will not do what you're doing right now. Will you simply sign a document, let's say, to buy a house or something, just because Alibaba said so? No, you're going to check the details and you're going to sign for yourself. Otherwise, you might be signing to sell, to pay for something that will end up with Alibaba. You will know that he will cheat you. So, but when it comes to religion, very happy to sell your to decide based on people such as Alibaba. Masih has, in Islam, there's no wife. It's a sex slave. I don't know if Masih has 2 sex slaves, possible, or more. Mr. Mohammed Ansari, don't waste our time. You know, just stay quiet. Please, just stay quiet. Clearly, you're just clueless and can't bring any sensible point to a context of adults discussing some serious stuff. You know, most Muslims are of your ability. I completely understand, but please don't waste our time. 7 minutes past 8 in London. So that's 2 hours since we began our live stream today. Mr. Rihas, bring the Muslim right away. What a debate! Bring the Muslim right away. Let's find out what is going to be said. Where are the Muslims who are able to string together a few meaningful statements one after another in a logical manner to try and make sense? I didn't realize he's Sikh. Is Sutran Sikh right now? I knew he was a runner. I knew he staged knife attack. He was Ibn Ketchup. But now it's news to me that you're saying he's Sikh also. Where are the Muslims? He is very sick. Utran is a waste of time. Utran doesn't understand that. Utran was heavily offended, by the way. Utran was heavily offended when I use the term technology in relation to describing writing, technologies of the past. For him, technology is only from the last 50 years, or 20 years, 30 years. He doesn't understand that technology is a much broader term. Anyway, so we have someone in the backstage. That's lovely. Let's get him on stage. Rihas is here. Let's get him on stage. Hello, Mr. Rihas. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I am doing well through God's grace. It's lovely to have you
Okay,
here.
good to know. Yeah,
Lovely to see you. Is this your first time?
I just happened to see your channel, and I wanted to ask if you are open. Are you open to debates, or because I know an Islamic channel, they are open to debates with on Islam and Christianity. So if you would like, if you're interested, then please let me know, so then we can go further with that. Then I can inform them, and we can connect to go for a debate if you would like that.
Which Islamic channel do you have in mind?
It's a known reputed Islamic channel. It's called Islamic Awakening, and they have debated with the many Christians. So if you would like, we can arrange a debate, and then you can also they can contact you. You can also contact them. If you can also give me your contact details, then they would get in touch with you soon.
Which one is so? Do you see the screen
that I'm sharing? You see the first one?
That fellow on the right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. That is the one.
Name on the left here. Yeah.
You see the first one with the Islamic Awakening with the logo on the top, with the book logo. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and so this gentleman, Is that
His
Ali
name is
Raza?
Ali. Ali Raza, and he does. We do conduct debates on this thing, so on Christianity and Islam. So if you are interested, please let me know so we can have a good dialogue, discussion, debate regarding Islam and Christianity.
Sure. Is he available right now?
At the moment, no, I mean, because I'm you can say I'm representing his channel. So if you're interested, what I can do is that if you give me your contact details, then what he can do, he will get in touch with you. You guys, both of you can have a discussion, and then you can schedule a debate on a particular date, and then yeah, you can go ahead with the debate.
Sure. Let's do that. But today you are here. So in relation to your awareness of we have a theme today, which is that Islamic history is bogus. You come across as if you're maybe in your early 30s, maybe or mid 30s.
Uh, yeah. But at this moment, as I said, I just came for a short period of time because I was a bit busy, but I just happened to see your channel. So I thought, hey, this looks interesting. So I thought, okay, I will just make a quick visit to your channel and have just a short talk with you regarding arranging a debate, and that would and of course when you will have a discussion with Mr. Ali Razakurra, then that will be more informative from both the sides, and you guys and both of you can have a discussion regard on the topic.
Yeah. And yourself, will you learn a lot of Islam when we have that discussion?
Sorry, can you repeat
Will
that?
you learn a lot when we have that discussion?
See, if both of you will have a discussion, both the audiences from your side and the audience from the his side, yeah, of course, it will if it's an informative discussion, then people will get to learn at both the ends.
And right now you're saying you're busy. Otherwise, you could engage in a conversation right now.
Yeah, actually, yeah. To be honest, I'm a bit busy, and I also prefer that if you would debate with him, that would be much more helpful for your audience and also informative for his audience, and that would be more nice. So better you we get in touch with each other, schedule every week, we can put in thumbnail for the get this on this date, the debate will be there, and that will be more engaging and exciting to a conversation to see between both of you. So that's why I just came to ask you, and if you give the green signal, then we can go ahead with it, and then also I can inform him and he can get in touch with you.
Yeah. I mean, what I need to look at his channel to find out whether he can
Mhm.
debate properly or not.
No, he's a good debater, that I can assure you. That's not an issue, or else I would not have
But
approached you. And
you know who is
I
assuring right now? Someone who is not willing to have a conversation. So I don't know what your capacity is. So your
no,
assurance.
look, what I'm trying to say, he has much more knowledge. See, I'm a student of Islam, and he's much more knowledgeable.
You are a student of
So
Islam. Why did you say? Why does your name say exposing Islamophobes? Why?
because I do that. The
So
Islam
you
by
are not
Islamophobes,
define.
just a second, by Islamophobes I mean uh, on the digital media there are a lot of fake people who are trying to earn money by defaming Islam. For example, there are a lot of ex-Muslims and other non-Muslims who have nothing to do, but they just earn money. But I know you are representing Christianity, that's another thing, right? So at this moment I'm
What
just
is there
asking
in
you if
Islam
you
to be
can
defined?
see in what I'm trying to say to you, if you can just give me the contact details, so Mr.
The
Ali Raza will
contact details
contact
is
you.
funny. What is there in Islam to be defamed? So this is the email. You
Yeah.
can. We can.
What is the email? What is the email? Can you? Is it possible for you to type on the private chat to me?
Yeah. Brother would type that in the private chat.
Yeah. Thanks a
But
lot.
what
And
is
is there any is that your email address?
That's the email address. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And is there also any contact number that they can approach you?
And not at the moment. Unfortunately, the ministry phone isn't working properly, so not at the moment.
Okay.
But
No,
email.
no. I'm just asking only if you have, because if you have a contact number, it's also easier for them to get in touch with you and then have a like a verbal discussion. But if it's not available, then also, yeah, whatever contact details are available, just type it in the private chat, and I will take that contact details and I'll pass it on to them, and
Sure.
hopefully they will get in touch with you, and we would like to also get a positive response for
You,
you, and we
you,
would like to see the discussion between both of you.
you said people are defaming Islam. What is there in Islam to be defamed?
Okay, just a second. I will just take this. Okay.
So you were
Okay, thank
saying,
you. No, the people who are there are some people who are misrepresenting Islam
yeah.
on that
Well,
basis. Because so there are, and also some people there are a lot of fake ex-Muslims. So sometimes I go and expose them
if you
because they
answer
are
my
actually not.
question,
Let me
you are
complete.
saying
So
people defame Islam. Defame.
Mhm.
My question is, what is there in Islam to be defamed? What is there? For something to be defamed, there needs to be something which is good, which is twisted and presented as bad. So what is there
No, look, if
to be
someone
defamed?
look, yeah. For example, some people throw lies, unnecessary lies, like, and
Yeah.
they misquote
Give me an
things,
example. What is
these
there to
kind
be?
of stuff.
Give me an example. What is there to be
Mhm.
defamed in Islam? Or rather, tell me
No,
one good thing in Islam.
no, yes, for example, they, sometimes they say that, why does Islam has problem with Trinity? As if I'm just talking on your terms, like, what's the
So,
problem in having
the question I've
Trinity?
asked is, tell me one good thing in Islam that can be defamed. One good thing.
The best thing about Islam is that oneness of God, you know,
Tell
to
me,
believe in one God, one creator. Okay.
please
Okay,
explain.
brother. As I said to you, I just came. I would have loved to. I would have loved to have the conversation, but at this moment, I'm a bit occupied, or else I would have talked with you further. But I'm sorry. Uh, what I will do now is I will take a leave. But it was very nice of you also to have give me the chance to talk to you, and also that you gave me a contact number, and whatever your questions, anything, what you can do is that once you get in touch with Mr. Ali Raza, he's also the really really good guy, and I think you will have really a healthy conversation with me between you and him, and you guys can select a topic, Christianity and Islam, whatever would you like, and I will look forward for a debate between both of you. So I will take a leave now, and thanks for giving me the chance to add me to this stream.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Rihas, for coming. It's
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
We'll
nice
catch.
time ahead. Have a nice time. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Right. So that's Rehan. It's Rihas, and he wants to. He's so focused on anyway. Only formal debate with Mr. Ali. Where are the Muslims who are able to defend Islam right now? Is there no Muslim who is able to come here and engage in a conversation about how Islamic history is not bogus? Is there no Muslim? And so, Mr. Muhammad Ansari, maybe you are a little bit confused. I'll help you understand. The theme for today is that Islamic history is bogus. if you think, okay, let's put it this way, Muhammad Ansari, I can engage with you on this if you want to jump on the stream. Let's try and understand whether Jesus has better history or Muhammad. So, Muhammad Ansari, the way you can do that, the way you can engage in a conversation, is by joining the stream right now. Muhammad Ansari, come. Yes, if you come here, I'll give you the answer. Please come. Please come and I'll give you the answer. I'll respond to your question. Mr. Muhammad Ansari, please come to the stage. I'll respond to your question. There's no point in, being right. These are cheap tricks that Mr. Bacon's, who, by the way, to everyone who's watching, it's possible that this Bacon's fellow is the it's possible that this Bacon's fellow is part of the Islamic mafia gang at Speaker's Corner. Let me try and get a picture of him. One second. Let me see. It's possible that Mr. Bacon's is this that illiterate gentleman, that one, the one in the middle, in this Usain Bolt Maser video, the one in the middle pointing his finger towards me. It's possible it's him, Mr. Bacon's, and he thinks, it's possible that gentleman who is utterly clueless, who is some sort of a minion for the Dawa mafia ringleaders, who go around thinking he's being very faithful when being utterly clueless. It's possible. I don't know, but based on a couple of details that he is saying, I suspect that this is possible. Yeah, I completely understand that gentleman is terribly old. So we are looking forward to that ball. No, that no, he could be a nice man, The thing is, now this is the beauty in relation to what we do. Human beings, when they follow Islam, they have some terrible characteristics. Their behavior is terrible, abominable. You would want to stay away from them as best as you can. But the thing is, if they leave Islam, they can be really, they can exhibit really good characteristics. I can see it's already getting to him. He's already being hurt. Anyway, Mr. Ansari, is a waste of time. Right, it's a new question. Sansa. Yeah, okay. I completely understand. So, but the henchman part, these fellows, these fellows, if not for the fact that they are Dawa ringleaders and their minions, they would be proper clowns. Can you imagine? With this level of organizational capacity and other things, can you imagine going around trying to do things? Ali Baba, if he wasn't a Muslim, can you imagine? Can you imagine a world where Ali Baba was not a Muslim? If Ali Baba wasn't a Muslim, he would perhaps be a comedian somewhere. So, clearly, there is no hope right now. So maybe we'll have a little bit of fun trying to play this. Just one second. Sohail Mahmood is here. Mr. Sohail Mahmood, you are. I invite you to join the stream to help me understand. You talking too much about Islam. I invite you to join the stream so we can try and see what you have in your mind. So let's have a little bit of fun here. Now let's play this video and see.
Support this wonderful organization, HDF, which is doing crucial work on the ground. Alhamdulillah.
God of the Bible is a person, is a God called Jehovah. Sorry. And according to the Quran, the Islamic Allah is the creator. Please help me understand. Why do you think the Islamic Allah is the creator?
Yeah, because he's the creator.
Why?
It says that in the Quran.
It says it in the Quran.
Yeah.
You say you're a Muslim. Are you Muslim?
No.
You're not a Muslim.
But your creator said.
So listen to me carefully. Before. So stay.
Who's the creator?
In terms of the
Allah or
Quran,
Jesus?
that's exactly what I've asked you. The Islamic Allah, help me understand why you think he is the creator. Why?
Why you think Jesus is the creator?
I can explain. But before that, can you admit you haven't got a clue as to why the Islamic Allah is the creator?
Just explain to me.
Are you a Muslim, my dear friend? Please come forward.
Yeah, explain.
This is the Bible. Once.
Why
If you step forward, why do you think the Islamic Allah is the creator?
Say that again slowly.
Say again.
Repeat the question again.
So I have the Bible, I have the Quran. A fundamental question of existence is who truly is God? Is a fundamental question. Yehovah, the Islamic Allah. So
Allah is the Father.
Yeah. To help me
of
understand.
Jesus. Of Jesus.
No, please.
Jesus mentioned the
So
Father.
if you
Father.
One second. Help me understand why you think the Islamic Allah is the creator.
Apologies, I'm still having a snack. But if you notice carefully, he'll go on a lecture. The guy on the left right now, he can go on a lecture now. Allah is the Father. Allah is the all sorts of different things. He'll go on a lecture, but the one question that I've asked, the level of comprehension. If I ask someone, hey, look, how do you know this is God? People should understand what the question is. But to a Muslim, the single question which has been asked will be completely wasted on them. In the meantime, he might give a great lecture of on Muhammad and this and that. This is what happens. Why is this happening? The reason is, the Islam is a religion that damages the brain. The people can ask a question and you won't even know what is asked, and you're busy ranting on, just because you've got two lips, just blah, 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 that you completely miss the opportunity to engage in a meaningful conversation. So that's what's happening right now. So I'll continue playing right.
Well, to Muslim people, he is a creator.
Why? I understand you think, but why?
Why?
Once.
I could have said the tree could have been a creator, but you have a brain to think.
Sure, yeah. So you have a brain.
To think.
You have a brain.
The tree didn't create me. The air didn't create me. The sun didn't create me. A human being hadn't created me. There must be a higher power, right?
Yep.
There must be a higher power.
Yep.
So in your brain, as a human brain, what's the higher power? You can imagine.
Sure.
Your imagination will tell you there's a God. That's my imagination told me there's Allah there.
Listen carefully.
You can call him something else in Hindu or other religion, a Christian. You can call him a different God. But in Islam, we call him Allah. Allah is not only for Muslim people. Allah is for everyone.
Thank you very much for being very generous. But I'm trying to deal with the point you said with a brain. You have decided, because you have a brain, you have decided the tree is not a creator, air is not the creator, and other things are not creators. But with that same brain, why did you think the Islamic Allah is the creator?
Because he's not visible to us.
Which might be because he doesn't exist. So why do you think the Islamic Allah is the creator?
He does exist. He does exist. He does exist.
Explain. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Answer, please. One second. If you you now need to provide. You now one second. Don't go to Jesus. No. Don't go to Jesus yet. Stick with the Islamic Allah. Help me understand. One second. I believe in a conversation. We are in the middle of one of them right now. One second. So you, sir, please help me understand why you think the Islamic Allah is the creator. To establish
Islamic Allah, first of all. You making it to Islamic Allah. I said your Allah is for everybody.
Listen carefully.
Only for Islam.
One second.
For Christianity,
Allah,
for Judaism, Allah is one.
Sure. But please.
One.
Okay.
This is how your brothers and sisters are praying on concrete floor.
You making it to Islamic Allah. Allah is not Islamic. Allah is for everyone.
This Quran, you believe in the Quran?
I believe in the Quran.
Who?
I believe in the Torah. And
So what?
Muhammad, I completely understand you're saying you don't have knowledge, but it's tragic. It's tragic that whilst you don't have knowledge, you have decided to follow a religion. It's tragic. I don't know how old you are. When you don't have to know everything in a religion, but you need to know some fundamentals whilst you have sold your soul for that religion. For example, different Christians would have different reasons as to why they consider Jesus to be God and they are Christians. In relation to you, unfortunately, unlike the Christians, you won't have a personal experience with the Islamic Allah. You could not have. If you did have, Muhammad would not be the last messenger. And so, you better have an appropriate reasoning outside of your personal experience, in arriving at this conclusion that Islam is the religion that you need to be following. You better, please, I invite you, as a fellow Tamil, I invite you. I have read the Bible. The questions you asked, 4 different resurrection accounts. And I can't remember, I didn't actually read your question on Mary. I can tell you questions are moot. They're not valid questions. I have done research on, let's say, the resurrection accounts, crucifixion and resurrection accounts across the different gospels. and they are historically very credible and so on. And so for you to ask the questions you've asked, and I don't know why you've asked what you asked, I want you to consider your life choices carefully. If you want to have a simple, friendly conversation, you don't have to be an expert. None of these fellows. Maser shows up. You know Maser from Speaker's Corner. Maser shows up. You think he has a clue? This Maser. Maser. Where is Maser? Bamza. Bamza, the one in this video. The Bamza shows up at Speaker's Corner. You think he knows anything about Islam? He's utterly clueless. Absolutely clueless. This fellow Labubu showed up at Speaker's Corner, and he said Muhammad being from Mecca is an irrelevant detail. No one has to defend. That whether he was from Mecca or someone else is irrelevant, according to him. According to him. You have this Smile to Banana, Seesaw, who shows up at Speaker's Corner. Absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless. There was one debate I had with him in which he ran away before I asked him the question from my side. But I faced his question. And he, after waiting for many weeks, he challenged me on a particular topic and debunked. This is the level of intellect of these fellows. You have Maser, that's Maser from Speaker's Corner, runs away all the time. You see the road runner in the thumbnail. None of these fellows have a clue. None of these fellows have a clue. So please don't tell me you are not an expert. No one is an expert. How Islam began, no one has a clue. It's an area of deep research right now as we speak. And so please, more importantly, I want you to wake up to the reality and not give excuses. Islam is just junk. It's terrible. Evil. Evil. If you're a Tamil, I don't know how old you are, but if you're based in Tamil Nadu, I can tell you, when I was young, decades ago, I think in the late 90s, there was check this out. In the late 90s, from what I remember, there was a serial bomb blast incident, Alluma, launched by a group back then called Alluma, 1998 Coimbatore bombings. Check that out. It was a terrible in the 90s. In the 90s, in Coimbatore, in Mumbai, there were Mumbai bomb blasts, terrible things for decades. This is Islam, a terrible religion. So I invite you to get these things investigated and accommodated properly in your life choices.
One second.
I respect Jesus Christ. I believe him as a messenger.
Do you believe in conversations?
Yes.
Do you believe in listening and answering?
Yes.
Do you believe in
For everyone.
this Quran?
Yeah.
You believe in the Quran?
I believe in the Quran.
Who-
I believe in the Torah and the,
So
and the Bible.
one second.
I respect Jesus Christ. I believe him as a messenger.
Do you believe in conversations?
Yes.
Do you believe in listening and answering?
Yes.
Do you believe in understanding what a question means
Yes.
and
And
responding
answer.
intelligently? You believe in these things?
Yes.
So please hold on to those beliefs,
Yes.
because they are the ones which play an important part right now
Right.
in our conversation. Because I am asking a specific question, you're answering all sorts of questions which I never asked. So I'm going to go back. So this Quran,
Yes.
Muslims think, has been produced by an entity called the Islamic Allah. Who you call Allah? You call him Allah?
Words of
Yeah, Allah.
yeah.
Allah. So help me understand this Islamic Allah. How do you think, or why do you think this Islamic Allah, the one who gave the Quran,
Yeah.
is the creator? Give me reason.
Brother, when you read the Quran, if you read the Quran, you will understand that he's the creator. Because everything is in the Quran
Because this
is not.
preserved.
Listen.
corrupt.
No. Everything is, listen, let me tell you something. Everything in the Quran is a life. Everything we live in every day. Understand? That's in the Quran. So human being cannot give us advice on how to live our life. Understand? I said to you, he's a creator. But your question is a very silly question. It's not, you cannot find the answer to it.
After all that ranting, it's a silly question. He tried his best. Okay, so now I think after 10 minutes or something, now he has gotten his head around, maybe 5 minutes, he's gotten his head around to understand really what was asked. So now he's engaging, he's beginning to respond. Okay, he's beginning to respond, to give a reason for why the Islamic Allah is God. And so as he started, he tried this, everything in the Quran is life and what, as he began to give one or two things that remotely resembles as answers to the question asked, he realized clearly he wasn't doing a good job. And so he suddenly accused me and ridiculed the question as a silly question. Instead of saying, hey, look, it's a basic question and I haven't got an answer. That's what he should have said. But instead, he's accusing me.
I said to you, he's a creator. But your question is a very silly question. It's not, you cannot find the answer to it.
I've asked a simple question. If I asked you what your name is,
What answer do you want me to give
once.
Yeah.
If I asked you what your name is, you will understand. If I ask you to prove, for example, your citizenship or whatever, you'll understand.
I understand.
But I am asking you a more fundamental question, a more serious question, and you haven't got an answer. Please listen. One second. A more fundamental question, a more serious question I'm asking you.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding with you is that you haven't got an answer. So I'll repeat one last time. And then one last time, and then I'll go on. Help me understand. Have you got any reason to think whoever in your mind gave the Quran, in your mind, which is the Allah, Islamic Allah, why do you think this Islamic Allah is the creator? Why do you think so? You wanted me to read, I understand, but why do you think this is the creator?
Why do I think he's a creator? Because you know what? He is a creator.
Why?
Why? That's a question I can't answer it.
You can't answer a basic question.
No. He's a creator. Just Allah who
One second. I'm here.
You understand?
One second. I'm here. Please stay focused right now. One second. Please stay focused right now. I'm here. I'm asking the first question someone could ask about the Islamic. The first question. One second. There are plenty of religions in the world. So when someone says, look, I am the creator, the first question you need to ask is, why? How do I know you are the creator? Okay. That's the very first question.
You want the answer?
Yes, exactly.
Allah said when you know he's a creator, he said, look at my creation. Look at the creation, you will know he's a creator. Look at the way you breathe in, how the baby's made, how the sun comes out and goes off. You understand?
I don't understand. I hear what you're saying.
You don't understand.
I hear what you're saying, but please listen.
I'm saying how your heart beat, how you breathe.
You're saying I'm...
This guy doesn't have a clue. But it's not just him. Most Muslims, as a matter of fact, I would say almost every Muslim in the world. No, I'm a Christian. I don't deny the fact that there is a creator. No one is denying the fact that there is a creator. The question is whether the creator is the Islamic Allah or not. And this guy doesn't understand that to answer that question, he needs to move beyond merely claiming that there is a creator. The Islamic Allah is a particular version of a God, of a supposed God, particular version. Like how, let's say in Hinduism, there is a particular, various particular gods, like in other religions, in Buddhism or whatever else. There's a particular versions of God. In the times past, in Baal worship, in Chemosh worship, in Molech worship. There are some particular versions of God. In the religion called Islam, there is a particular God, supposed God, namely the Islamic Allah. He likes jihad. He wants to wipe out those who don't follow him in this world. He doesn't let them live in peace and wait and say, look, let them live their full life and then maybe I'll judge them at the end. No, he wants to wipe out. He is in the habit of wiping out those who rejected him, according to Surah Al-Anfal. And in various of the surahs, historically, he has wiped out various nations. He has sent messengers across the world in various nations. Various mother tongues have received various messengers from him. He is he cannot have partners according to him, yet he has Muhammad as his partner, and no one can lie to him, yet he can lie. He is the biggest of liars, deceivers. So this particular, the Islamic Allah is a particular version of God, particular version of a supposed God, a particular version. So you can't just say there is God and therefore Islamic Allah is true. Well, the Islamic Allah will be true only if this particular version is demonstrated to be true. And so, dear friends, Muslims lack comprehension even to this degree, which they are supposed to have for them to make basic choices in life. If Muslims did not know and are willing to know, that'll be a different story. Why is they are utterly clueless? Can you imagine these masked Muslim thugs walking around nations such as the UK? It's not just the UK. Everywhere. Going, what happened with Islam in history. Muslim mafia going around, planting bombs, destroying people throughout centuries, destroying human beings, whilst remaining utterly clueless. This is like, the equivalent of this is a student who has failed basic biology, trying to essentially, let's say he has failed, he never studied basic biology, trying to come up with a university for biology, for teaching biology. Can you imagine that happening? Someone who has no clue, trying to portray himself as the authority in that field. Can you imagine that happening? That's Islam. Utterly clueless when it comes to basic questions. If you're a Muslim who's watching, please be ashamed. Please be ashamed. If you're struggling to be ashamed, including Muhammad Ansari, I don't know what he's ranting on about. I've explained to him, it's not about respecting. Don't respect. You're nobody to respect anything, my dear friend. You are utterly clueless. No one is asking if you respect anything or not. I'm saying, for your own safety, eternal safety, better get to know properly before deciding, is what I'm saying. Whether you respect someone else, some other religion or not, is irrelevant. You don't even know your religion. And so I'm not interested in finding out if you respect some other religion. No one is interested. If I am a chess player, a great chess player, and if I respect some other chess player, then you can say, well, maybe that's some, qualification. But if I am an utterly clueless chess player, me standing up somewhere and say, hey, look, I respect him. Who cares? Irrelevant. So you respecting is irrelevant. So get your thinking process straight. Get whatever hasn't been working properly, please get things to work properly. Islam leads to proper brain damage. Islam leads to people not knowing what it means to have basic evaluation of truth statements, being utterly clueless. Utterly clueless. So be ashamed. Please be ashamed. Please wake up. Being ashamed is good. Being ashamed is good. When you have reasons to be ashamed, you better be ashamed. The end is about to happen soon, and then there will be a judgment, and final destinies will be sorted. But even before that, it is important that all of us anyway are passing away. So it's important to get your act together. Muslims, like I've seen, about 3 hours of live streaming. Yes, I think people are saying that not all Muslims are violent. Let's put it this way. My point isn't that all Muslims are violent. That's not the point. My point is Islam is violent as a religion. Islam is evil as a religion. And so I completely understand most Muslims are victims of this brainwashing cult. But on Judgment Day, the fact that your victims will be borne in mind, but also the fact that you are responsible for providing sort of a for saving this religion. Okay, there's someone in the backstage. Let's see. Maybe this is a Muslim. Let's see if we can have a meaningful conversation. Hello, Takeover.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Are you a Muslim yourself?
Yeah, I'm a Muslim, but I'm not violent.
Say again.
But I'm not violent.
But you're not violent.
Yes.
If you're a Muslim, why are you not violent?
Because why should I be violent? I respect other people's religion.
Sorry. Well, my dear friend, your audio isn't good. Your audio is breaking up. We can't hear properly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No, it's when you started off it was okay, but now it's after the first 20 seconds it hasn't been okay. Can you jump out and jump back in?
Okay, I'll try.
Please.
Are they restarting?
Yeah. Right, let's see if we can have a good conversation. Oops. Actually, this is true to a great degree. It sounds like shame though, doesn't he? But negotiation is okay, he's back. Let's see. Hello, Sambo. Your voice is still bad.
Then there's something wrong with your side.
Do you have another device using which you could connect? Maybe.
No. Can you hear me now?
You know, there is an electronic noise every time you speak. Your voice comes along with the noise, so it's hard to follow.
I don't know, man. It's probably on your side because every time I use it, it always working.
Yeah, maybe if you have another device.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so maybe he has jumped off. One last time. Hello, Sambo.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Same problem. Sorry.
Okay, maybe next time, yeah?
Yeah, maybe another time. Please come. We do live streams every Thursday. Every Thursday. So if you come maybe next Thursday, don't know what the problem is.
Okay, no problem. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. God's blessings. Bye-bye. Books. Yeah, maybe I could have asked him to. Anyway, this what can we say? What can we say? Anyway, I think perhaps we can begin wrapping up. I would say maybe we'll just finish watching this video.
Stubborn?
Yeah, you're very stubborn. Because
Excuse me, sir. I've asked you one question.
Can you imagine this guy accusing me of being stubborn when he's utterly clueless? Can you imagine? That's exactly what I say. People who are clueless, wanting to dictate terms, gaslight and do. What kind of evil should it take for him to say I am stubborn when he clearly can't answer a basic question?
Giving me a chance to answer you.
I've asked you one question. I've repeated 3 times. You haven't started giving an answer. You know what you've said? One second. Listen carefully.
Now you're talking something.
One second. Listen. I certainly believe in a creator. I certainly believe.
Why?
One second. But before we go to that, I certainly look around, look at my complexity, look at the complexity of the universe, and I completely understand there is a creator. I have no doubt that there is a creator. My doubt is, and that is where I asked you the question, why do you think the Islamic Allah is that creator? That is the question I asked. I'll help you understand right now. No, I've asked you thrice.
But your question you're asking, it doesn't make sense. Let me tell you why it doesn't make sense. Because you're specifying, you're saying the Muslim Allah. Allah is not for Muslim. That's a wrong thing to tell you, first of all.
Okay, thank you.
There's no such a thing called Muslim Allah. Allah is for Christian, for Jesus, for Judaism, for everybody.
Look,
It's not
Allah,
only for Muslims.
Allah, my dear friend, please listen carefully.
Yeah, the same.
Can you see the way in which he has resolved the mental ailment he has? Instead of, I asked him a basic question, how do you know this Islamic Allah exists? And Islamic Allah, like I said, the Allah of the Quran is a particular version, the claim is of a particular deity. And when I asked him for evidence for why he existed, why he thought this guy existed or he is a creator, the gentleman with the green hat failed to respond. And after failing to respond, he accused that my question is silly, that I don't know, I can't remember what term he used it towards me. And now he is saying that Allah is for everyone. Thank you very much. Not interested. Just because you can't give an evidence for why the Islamic Allah exists, don't just claim that Allah is Allah is who everyone thinks is the creator. No, we don't. Your Islamic Allah, no one thinks is the creator. Like I've said multiple times, in my careful view, the Islamic Allah is Mickey Mouse, and worse than Mickey Mouse. And by that I know Mickey Mouse is a positive character. It's a kind of an entertaining character. The Islamic Allah is not an entertaining character. The level of issues that we've had in this world because of him in the last around 14 centuries or so is terrible. But I say Mickey Mouse, just to point out to the fact that he is mythical. So thank you very much. Not interested. He is not my God. He is not anyone's God in my mind. So and I'm constantly being accused that I insult Mickey Mouse when I say what I say. That being the case, this fellow, instead of giving a response to the question I've asked, he is now trying to make me be deluded. Whereas I know who my God is, he wants me to think that Islamic Allah is my God. Can you imagine the level of brain damage? Hey, can you imagine these guys? This is what they're doing, by the way. What he is doing, which is comical, and I'm exposing the fact of this comedy show here. This is actually a huge tragedy. I don't know if you know. In Pakistan, in Nigeria, and elsewhere, Christians are expected to behave as Muslims because they are forced to think that the Islamic Allah is their God. This is why in Pakistan, Christians have to respect the messenger of Islam. Why would people who have rejected your messenger want to respect your messenger? They have rejected, and therefore they are free to critique. Even those who did not reject are free to critique, should be free to criticize a person. People should be free. Yet Christians are expected to respect. And the reason is very simple. The same delusion as this fellow has at Speaker's Corner. Hey, look, he is your God. You better do. Is his mindset.
You're asking, it doesn't make sense. Let me tell you why it doesn't make sense. Because you specifying, you're saying the Muslim Allah. Allah is not for Muslim. That's a wrong thing to tell you. First of all.
Okay, thank you.
There's no such a thing called Muslim Allah. Allah is for Christian, for Jesus, for Judaism, for everybody.
Look, Allah,
for Muslim.
Allah, my dear friend, please listen.
Do I think they actually believe this, or are they? For this question, I'm not sure entirely. I think it is possible that they haven't really even thought through these things properly to take them as proper belief statements that they have. It's possible that maybe this time, after this fellow had his conversation with me, he went back home and he thought, actually, you know what? And maybe that's the first time he's even thinking about these things. So is he merely repeating, or do they really believe? I really don't know. What I do know, what I can say is that they They're somewhere in the middle, at the least. He is clearly repeating, but he's repeating because he has taken the claim seriously, to a degree. So yeah, sorry, my wife says, read out the questions so people understand what I'm responding to. I'm just responding to the question of Garden 26 UK Life. Arul, do you think they actually believe this, or are they just repeating what they are told to say? Legit question. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Okay, cool. So Muhammad says Old Testament God is different. My dear friend, you don't even know Islam. Please don't talk. Not true. You're wrong. Muslims are not even taught Islam properly, but they are mobilized in the millions and several hundred millions to go talk about the Bible. I don't know why. They're utterly clueless when it comes to their own religion, but they want to present themselves as leading experts criticizing the Bible. And I can clearly demonstrate, if I wanted to, that you would be clueless in relation to the Bible also. So please don't waste time, my dear friend. Please, just why are they? Yeah. Anyway, most Muslims, and I would say this is true even with people such as Hashem, Maser, I guarantee, I've heard, I've listened to them say a few things. I am convinced that even these quote-unquote leading Dawa fellows, the mafia ringleaders, even they don't know the Quran properly. So, and this is why, I don't know if people know me, but essentially for me, earlier, for a long time, I engaged with Muslims by presenting the Bible alone. And then I presented a few other points. But for me, before I was clear, it was clear in my mind that before I actually substantially critiqued Islam, I had to read the Quran properly on my own. That was clear in my mind. I had to, because I can't half-heartedly critique something when I don't know what it really says. This is why I had to read through the Quran. I went through the Quran 3 or 4 iterations for me to have a proper bearing, and I have my detailed notes, and I know roughly what the Quran says in terms of its substantial content. But most, I am saying not just most Muslims, all Muslims, I'm telling you, only when I make a point, they say, oh yes, actually not, and then they go there. For a case in hand is a case in hand is this this Hafiz. Someone said he was a Hafiz. I don't know if people know what a Hafiz is. A Hafiz is someone who memorizes the Quran. There was I had a conversation with this fellow who, he said he was a Hafiz.
Alan Fall. You're lying big time right now.
Leave everything there, and they run away. Then you take the stuff.
Yeah, you see? You know what Surah Al-Fan?
Anyway, when we play this, you will realize this fellow is a Hafiz. is supposed to have memorized the Quran, but I will demonstrate right now that his memorization is utterly useless, because I make a simple claim about the Quran. I can't remember what particular line that was. I forget, but I made a simple claim, very well defined, simple claim. If you had known your Quran, you should have known and said, actually, that's true. But this gentleman, he denied, the claim being true, and I demonstrated through specific details in the Quran that he was wrong. This is the case for people who have memorized the Quran. So let's play this.
Al-Anfal means?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It means the booty.
Yeah. Booty from who?
Where does it say?
I'm going to Tawbah. Surah 60, Surah Al-Mumtahana. So Quran, Surah 22, Surah As-Hajj or Al-Hajj, I can't remember which. Al-Hajj. In multiple places, the Quran testifies of the fact of Muslim Arabs wiping out the non-Muslim occupants, whether they were Arabs or Jews or Christians.
Where does it say in the Quran?
Surah Al-Anfal, for example.
What's that verse?
I'll tell you what, but please listen.
No, you can't claim it. You need to tell me the verse. Where is that?
Yeah, but I'm going to.
Where does it say?
I'm going to.
Which verse specifically say the Muslim went there and wiped the whole nation out?
Sure.
You
But if you listen, if you listen.
No, you said in the Quran. There's so many evidence in the Quran. Which verse?
But if you listen, I'm beginning to.
Yeah.
You know what Surah Al-Anfal means?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it mean?
It means the booty.
Yeah. Booty from who?
From the war. War booty.
Yeah. War booty from who?
From who?
So, if the Muslims are going to get war booty from someone, from who?
From the enemies.
Who were wiped out.
No, they're not wiped out.
So how could you get war booty from them if they're not
If
wiped
you go
out?
to war, if you have a fight, there was a rule, isn't it? If you have a fight and they leave everything there and they run away, then you take the stuff.
Yeah, you see, you have now confessed already that the land was taken over.
It was not correct.
But please listen.
That's not
But please listen.
Just because you have a war with someone doesn't mean taking.
Hey, please listen. Please listen. People who were living, earlier. Now you.
Why? We could be like this.
No. Now you need to listen. Now you're being insincere. Now you're being insincere. Now you're being Hafiz, Mr. Hafiz. What's your name again? Hafiz Shahib. You're now being insincere. You earlier concocted a story. In your earlier story, which was really rosy, everyone became a Muslim. That was your story. They changed. Was your story. But please listen. You now agree, at least some people had left behind their property and they had to run away.
Yeah, so?
They didn't change. They were chased away.
No, they came to attack and then they ran away.
Excuse me. Okay, listen. Okay, now you're changing. Now you have a new version.
They came to attack Medina and then they removed
Hafiz, Mr. Hafiz.
You know what?
Please.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
You're being. Sure. But you know you're shooting. Sure. You don't. Wait. If they have come to attack, and if you have made them chase away, you don't get war booty. You get war booty if you have gone to them where they had properties. You know where they were. Excuse me. Do you know what Al-Anfal? Al-Anfal. You're lying big time right now. You're lying big time. Al-Anfal. Do you know who it is about?
You said to me, in the Quran it says this surah, this verse, that the Muslims should go and wipe the people out of the land. But he didn't give me a specific verse.
Now
you're telling me the surah.
No.
Surah Anfal.
Maybe I'll clarify.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll clarify. Surah 9 ayat 5 talks about how you wipe out, Muslims wipe out. Surah? You're not cutting me short again.
No, what's this?
If you listen.
Once again, surah?
If you listen. Surah At-Tawbah, ayat 5, for example.
Ayat 5,
for example. But I want to make my... But I want to make my wider point first.
No, once again. You said surah Tawbah.
Ayat 5.
Ayat 5, once again.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's ayat 5? Okay. إِمِنْ تَفَائِدًا سَلَقَ الْأَشْهُرُ فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ وَجَدْتُمُوهُمْ.
Yeah, fine, please.
So it doesn't say wiping out.
What does it say?
It said here that when the Ashur Hurum is finished, okay, then you فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ you fight the mushrikeen, the idol worshippers. حَيْثُ وَجَدْتُمُوهُمْ وَخُذُوهُمْ وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ And but then after that he said, "Fine tabu, if they repent."
No, forget about that.
وَأَقَامُوا
No,
الصَّلَاةَ.
what does ayat 5 say? Please read.
That's what I'm saying, isn't it?
No, you didn't. You skipped.
I just skip it.
You said,
I'm
what do you do? What do you do? What do you do to them? Read.
You fight them.
And do what? Fight. Fight, and what is the goal?
وَجَدْتُمُوهُمْ حَيْثُ
Yeah,
جَدْتُمُوهُمْ.
Hafiz, you are struggling to read. Let me read.
I'm not struggling.
Yeah.
I'm reading Arabic, you're reading English. And Arabic, is it?
Let me read. Surah 5. Surah 9, At-Tawbah, Ayah 5. When the inviolable months have passed, the things that you are struggling to read and hiding,
No, I'm not hiding.
then kill the polytheists.
It's a kill.
What is it?
Taqtul is a fight. You fight them.
Let me take the Arabic Quran for you. Either you're a full-time liar or you're a poor Hafiz. I don't know which one it is. Which one is
I
it?
can tell you the whole verse without looking.
But you're a liar. It doesn't change the fact that you're lying right now. Come here. Don't run away anywhere. Focus on this. Surah 9, Ayah 5.
Because it's a different version.
No. It's Arabic. This is Arabic. Read.
Okay.
What do they say?
Yes.
Siri, what is it? What do they say?
فَقْتُلُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Oh yeah, kill them. Yeah.
Yeah. So kill.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're giving up on your lie. You're a proper liar.
I'm a liar.
You began well. Now you are exposing yourself as a proper liar. So now let me make a broader case. The broader case is very simple.
Multiple points already. He earlier said, the part we didn't play, I think he seems to have said that Muslims never forced anyone to flee or convert, but people genuinely converted of their own volition to Islam. And, so clearly the part we played right now goes against it, because violence was employed, properties were taken away in the process. So clearly that's not, people converting out of their own volition, but plenty of much coercion physical coercion, violence being employed. And then subsequently he said it's not, their properties weren't taken away, they weren't wiped out. But, how can you take some properties out if you aren't destroying? By destroy, I don't necessarily mean kill, wipe. No, by even wiping out, I don't mean people removed from being existent. That's not what I mean. What I mean is people not being able to live their lives. They are maybe chased away from wherever they are, in exile or whatever else, either sent on exile or subjugated. All of these would be categorized as destructive act towards human beings. So clearly he had to agree to that. And finally, of course, he was saying that they weren't killed, they were only fought against. And the Arabic Quran word for word has debunked him. So this is the state of the reality. They whether willingly or initially, clearly maybe not deliberate, but later on clearly is lying deliberately to safeguard his religion. So you have this is the tragedy. Islam is a terrible religion, and people have to come out of this. So maybe what we'll do is I can't see any. Yeah, we were supposed to wrap this up. So so let's wrap this up and then wrap this video up, and then perhaps we'll call it today. I can't see any Muslim who's coming to join. So let's play this.
Yeah, the same God you believe in. Yeah, he said the creator.
I believe in a God. Once.
He said you believe in the creator.
Please listen. Please.
Am I right?
Please listen.
That's what you said?
No, once. Please listen.
My dear friend. 1 second. You said you believe in the creator. Somebody created.
I believe in a creator, yes.
Okay, who's the creator?
Not the Islamic Allah.
Who?
Yehovah, God of the Bible. Now, before we go there, excuse me.
So you see, you think there's a God of Allah?
No, once.
Okay, you tell me.
So you asked me earlier, I'll now help you understand, yeah? I asked you 3 times to give me the reason for why the one who produced the Quran is the creator. Earlier,
Okay, for example.
one second. In the middle of, when I asked the second time, you said if you read the Quran.
Yeah.
I've read the Quran.
Yeah.
And I can tell you clearly, whoever produced the Quran cannot be a creator, neither could he be even a human being who knows history. Someone who is ill-knowledged on various things is the one who produced the Quran. He makes mistakes in history. He makes basic mistakes in history. He makes basic mistakes with science. He makes basic mistakes with logic. All sorts of mistakes. You go through this if you stay quiet, my dear friend.
So how is it?
So basic mistakes. I'll ask you a simple question, my dear friend. Do you believe in the nonsense that across the world all nations received an Islamic messenger?
There's only one Islamic messenger at the moment.
But the Quran says, across the world, all people in their mother tongues had received an Islamic messenger. Do you believe in this nonsense?
No. That's wrong. A messenger. There's no such a thing called Islamic. You keep repeating Islamic.
I completely understand. But
It's like you target.
do you believe in the religion called Islam?
You say Christianity.
Do you believe?
I believe in Christianity. I believe in Judaism.
But don't believe in anything before you can answer basic questions. You are struggling to answer basic questions.
No, I'm not struggling.
My dear friend.
It's like you're asking me the same question. You need to go back to the same question.
Did you answer the question
don't wanna hear the
of
answer.
whether the Islamic Allah is a creator? Did you answer the question?
Of course.
Did you? What was the reasoning? Please, if you
look into the Quran. Look into the Quran.
Yeah, what is there in the Quran?
You said you read the Quran.
Yeah.
I believe so. You haven't read the Quran.
Explain.
Because if you read the Quran, you'll have understanding of what the Quran talking about.
Explain.
For now, why do you think there's a lot of Muslim followers to the Quran till now?
Because there are plenty of people like you who can't understand and explain and give an answer. One second, please. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. No, you asked me a question. You asked me a question.
Who haven't been to school before.
Please,
he's not educated. Look how many followers does he have?
Including you, yeah? Including you.
Successful.
But listen carefully. You know why it is very successful? You know why it is very successful?
Go to Hajj and see how many.
Are you with him? I asked him a simple question. He can't answer. Now he wants to rant on and give a lecture about all of creation.
There we go. The state of reality when it comes to Muslims. State of reality. Utterly clueless. Wouldn't give up. Brain damaged. Don't understand basic questions. Don't know what to say. Professionally gaslighting. Will much rather accuse the other side when this is the least violent part of Islam. Clearly, of course, the more violent parts, we know what happens with those things. In contrast, you consider Jesus, you consider the Bible. The Bible is marvelous. The Bible is marvelous. The fact of Jesus having lived, died, and come back alive is a historical reality. It's not just the Christians who testify for this, it's also non-Christians. The Christian witness itself is tremendous. It's of a great degree of quality. No one has a clue. Even amongst Muslims, no one has a clue as to who Muhammad is. No historical work was produced to document the life of Muhammad in the first few centuries since when Muhammad is supposed to have walked on the face of the earth. There's no reliable early qualified witness statements. Jesus testified by Christians, Jesus testified by non-Christians. All qualified sources who could testify about Jesus have testified about Jesus. You have non-Christian Roman sources, non-Christian Jewish sources, first century, non-Christian Greek sources testifying for Jesus. As a matter of fact, to a degree that you can reconstruct the significant parts of the life of Jesus, significant components of the person of Jesus from outside of the Bible. Without reading the Bible, you can establish that Jesus had followers. He claimed to have a new religion, as how outsiders saw. His disciples were called Christians. They were supposed to imitate Jesus, and Jesus taught about relinquishing things of this world. Jesus healed, performed various miracles, and he was opposed by the Jewish religious leadership, opposed by the Roman administrators, and eventually Jesus was accused of blasphemy and was subjected to capital punishment. He was also attempted being murdered multiple times pre the ultimate crucifixion. He was ultimately crucified, and his followers earnestly thought that he came back alive. And with that, the church began to exist. All of these building blocks of the history of Jesus, one could verify from merely details outside of the Bible. That's how historical Jesus is. In contrast, Muhammad, no one has a clue. Not just the non-Muslim sources, but also Muslim sources. The Quran doesn't give details about Muhammad. Whatever gives details about Muhammad are ill-qualified from centuries later, not verified, not widely spread, not available to be scrutinized by people who could have scrutinized. It's just mere fantasy which has to be ridiculed and rejected. And the later fantasy literature makes a number of claims which contradict earlier claims. Yeah, including this. Surah Tawbah was revealed around 631. Says who? Following a period where several pagan Arab tribes violated 10-year treaty. Says who? By attacking allies of the Muslims. Says who? Says who? History tells us there were no pagan Arabs at the time of the origin of Islam. There was no idolatry. Physical idolatry did not exist by all counts of evidence available to us. So where are you getting your information from? The Quran, you can read across the Quran. The Quran doesn't record of conflict between pagan Arabs, idolatrous, physical idol worshipping Arabs, and the Muslims. The Quran doesn't talk about this. Where are you getting information from? Where? Surah Tawbah, if you read through, it doesn't talk about idolatrous Arabs owning Masjid Al-Haram. You can read Surah Tawbah, you can read Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Anfal, Surah Al-Ma'idah. You can read various surahs if you like. They don't talk about pagan Arabs owning Masjid Al-Haram. This is a delusional story. It isn't there. Even the Quran doesn't support these claims. And so wake up. Wake up, Muslims. It's time to wake up. Even though it's time to go to bed for me, it's time to wake up for you. Muslims, it's time to wake up. Wake up. Leave Islam in the bin. It isn't going to do any good. Islam is not of God. Islam is bogus. was a man-made religion to cater to some particular political agenda. Now, I'm not saying there was no spiritual force behind it. All sorts of evil spiritual forces could have operated behind Islam, but what we can say is it's not of God. So it's time to leave Islam, and it's time to come to the precious Lord, Jesus Christ. Jesus is worthy of worship. Jesus is worthy of honor. Jesus is worthy of all good things. He is historically reliable, morally supreme, the very definition of morality in demonstrable ways. In demonstrable ways. Come to Jesus. He has been my close friend, comforter, a leader who loves his followers in a way unrivaled by anyone else. That is Jesus. Leave Islam, come to Jesus. So I'm going to pray and close right now. And it's one more week of Muslims just failing miserably, yet not acknowledging that fact. I'm hoping that Muhammad Ansari and perhaps a few other Muslims would at least be bold enough to say, look, we have been utterly clueless. We haven't got a clue. Any point that we raise has been rejected based on some proper facts. And so maybe now is time to investigate carefully. I'm hoping at least some of the Muslims would do that. And if you're living in the UK, especially, it's time. There's no excuse for you. You live in a Western world. You can access all sorts of resources. You can speak in English. You can access all sorts of resources to remedy yourself of brain damage. I invite you all to Jesus. Let's bow our heads down and pray. Father, we come before your throne of grace. Lord, we thank you for today. Thank you that a gentleman came to organize a debate. Another tried to speak, yet he had audio issues. Lord, thank you for Muhammad Ansari, who was making his comments. Pray for all Muslims, particularly, firstly. Pray that through your Spirit, Lord, that you would help them with their brain damage. Help them, please. Before it's too late, please. Pray also for non-Muslim, non-Christians. Pray for your richest blessings to be upon each one. Lord, ultimately, we need to be your followers. Come, challenges in the world. Everyone is passing away sooner rather than later. It's important to get to terms with reality. So for people to take you seriously, Lord, please pray for all those who are waking up in nations such as ours. Lord, that people would not just claim to be Christian, but also allow themselves to become proper Christian, Lord. So help us, we pray. Take care of everyone, Lord. Pray for also Roman Catholics, people of Eastern Orthodoxy. I'm really sorry that they have to wake up to the reality that they are not Christians, historical Christians, not of Jesus, not imitators of Jesus. They're too busy doing other things like hyperdulia, Mary, or going behind before idols or whatever else. Lord, pray that through your Spirit, Lord, that you may wake their eyes up so they can come to you properly. There's no Queen of Heaven. There's no special priestly order who can give some magical things that'll transform you without you having a genuine change of your heart and change of your life called repentance and living a life worthy of repentance. Lord, pray that through your Spirit that they might learn to ignore idols, and that there is no transcending from this world into the nether world that they can speak to the dead and so on. These are abominable things. Wake them up for people to come to the reality of how to follow you, who you are, what you expect, and so on. Help, please, Lord. Take care of everyone. Lord, bless everyone. Take care of us all, Lord. Commend this time in your hands, Lord, and ask that you'd help. Thank you for the stream. Thank you that you helped me despite being very weak. Help. Thank you, Lord. Help us continue to walk faithfully, to serve you faithfully, Lord. Command all things in your hands, Lord. We bless you, give you thanks. Remind the Muslims particularly, and remind all non-Christians tonight that they might take the conversations, the subject matter they have listened to seriously, Lord. And they might take the challenge of having to check out what they have heard today properly in their lives. Ultimately, it's only at the foot of the cross with Jesus laying down his life for us, shedding his own blood for us, allowing his body to be broken for us as the Passover lamb, that we have atonement and redemption. Help us, Lord, we pray. Bless you, give you thanks. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, everyone. God's blessings to you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God's blessings to you all. Hopefully, we'll catch up later. God's blessings. Bye-bye. Good night.